Sounds like it's happier out there than at Disneyland today. That's fantastic. Listen, welcome to our City Council meeting for May 2nd. 1:30 is our starting time, and we'll begin with the roll call. So, Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Bredefeld will be absent for the entire meeting. Councilmember Chavez? Esparza?
Present.
Soria? Arias?
Presente.
And Council President Capriolio.
I am here. Thank you very much. Next, we'll have an invocation, and Pat Farmer, he is our Deputy Chief of Police, will lead us. So with the invocation, we'll all rise for that prayer, and then remain standing, and we'll salute the flag immediately thereafter. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pat, for being here.
Absolutely. If you would bow your heads with me as we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for all your blessings. And Lord, we just ask you to please bless all of our government leaders at the local, state, and federal level in our community. And we also ask you to please bless every city worker that works for the city of Fresno and all their duties that they do to keep our city working well. And Lord, we lift up every citizen in our community to keep them safe and allow us to have a prosperous, safe community that we live in. And Lord, we ask for a special blessing on all of our first responders, our peace officers. Today's Peace Officer Memorial Day. And Lord, 8 officers were honored that gave their lives in the line of duty that we honored today that were killed last year. And Lord, we lift up their families that are mourning their loss, that made the ultimate sacrifice to give their lives for others in the service of their communities throughout the state of California. And so, Lord, we just ask for your continued blessing, favor, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And we ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Ready? Salute. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Deputy Chief. I was at the memorial service at lunch. It was quite a moving event, and it's regrettable that we lost 8 of our law enforcement brothers and sisters. So thank you again. Next on our calendar, we have City Clerk. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, there are. We've already had our invocation by Deputy Police Chief Patrick Farmer. And the proclamation for the 10th anniversary of CFDI Day. The title has changed to read the 10th anniversary of Access Plus Capital Day. And finally, the 3:30 item, file ID 191618, is being removed from the agenda because the applicant withdrew their application.
Thank you very much. Would any council member like to make any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Council President,
Yes.
just wanted to make a quick comment.
On the agenda?
Yeah, if you don't mind, just related to the removal. I punched up. You probably didn't see me on the screen.
Thank you for punching.
Yeah, thank you. No, I just want to say thank you to the residents of Southeast Fresno, the ones who stood up with me in opposition to the proposed 7-Eleven convenience store project at Tulare and Cedar. It was removed from the agenda by the developer. We didn't have to go to the dramatics and theatrics of embarrassing them here at the council meeting today. So I appreciate that on their part, and I appreciate the residents who stood with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the agenda on our council? Seeing none, we have a motion by Member Soria, second by Member, did you second? Member Arias and Member Chavez. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, it passes 5-0. Next are the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes of April 25th?
No changes.
Thank you very much. Any changes by the council? None? Do I have a motion? Motion by Member Arias, seconded by Member Chavez. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, now we're going to start with our ceremonial presentations. And it looks like I'm up first. So bear with me. This is a proclamation of Municipal Clerks Week, and I'll be right down there. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. One more time. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, better. Let's do better. Good afternoon, everyone. There we go. Now we're rolling. Hearts are going. Blood circulating. We got this. So, before you this morning, we're going to support and honor the 50th anniversary of the Municipal Clerks Week here in the City Hall of Fresno. So the clerk and the team are here, and these are lifelines for those that are standing and sitting behind me. So we would like to present them with a proclamation to thank them and all their teamwork. These people are the link between City Hall and the city of Fresno and other outlying areas that would like to get involved with the city of Fresno. So we want to make this proclamation presentation today. And before I do that, would you like to say a few words?
I would. Thank you. I just want to say that a lot of times we get the question, what does a city clerk do? And it's a really complicated answer. And if you would like to know the answers, we're having an open house on Thursday and Friday and from 10 to 12. You're more than welcome to stop in, ask us questions, see our displays, and you'll get a better idea of what we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And do we have someone that can read the proclamation?
You can read it.
Well, you're down here. I didn't know if you had a wannabe clerk or something like that. Anyway.
Okay, there we go. Whereas the International Institute of Municipal Clerks initiated the first Municipal Clerks Week in 1969, and it has been recognized by past presidents, including Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton. And whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens and the governing bodies, and whereas the municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerks serve as the information center on functions of the local government and community. And whereas we'd like to thank our city clerk's office in the city of Fresno by making several technology changes to add transparency and efficiency. By teaming with the Information Resources Services Department, the City Clerk's Office created an electronic kiosk which makes posting paper agendas a thing of the past. The City Clerk's Office has continued to advance with the introduction of e-comments, and in case you didn't know, you can now log on to our website and pull up the agenda and make comments on certain items on the agenda in case you can't make it down to our meetings. And now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby recognize the week of May 5th through 11th, 2019, to be the 50th anniversary of Municipal Clerks Week in the city of Fresno.
Thank you. Well done. And here's your certificate. And we'll move in and we'll do a photo op.
From the mayor's
Appreciate it. Well, she was mentioning presidents. I thought she might slip my name in there, but maybe later, some other time. So now, this is a really, really special presentation for me. Maybe a few of you know that my grandfather served in World War I in the Army. My father was United States Navy, World War II. And my brother, who's gone now, was United States Marine Corps member. He served in Vietnam. And I remember when he came home and the reception that many of the warriors, the Vietnam people, the Vietnam men and women who served and defend our country, it was not pleasant. It was not pleasant. And so now we have a fantastic organization here in Fresno that's going to correct that and make all those Vietnam veterans feel welcome once and for all. So I want to, we're here to say thank you and honor the Vietnam veterans and their families. We'd like to say now, we thank all members of the armed services for their service. But now we're going to put a twist on that. So when you see a Vietnam veteran, we want to say, welcome home. Thank you for your service. We need to give them that welcome that they never received. So I have some members here of a great organization that started this up. If you guys could join me. Where's my team? Here we are. Come on down here. This is Denise Baronian. How are you? Good to see you again. David Black and others. Come on down. Lance, how you doing? So with the issues that I brought up a little bit ago, this fine organization came together. Come on, let's snuggle up. Let's get close because we're going to do photo ops and all that. So they came together and they put into practice what we often preach and think about. So without your help, we wouldn't be able to honor not just all veterans, but Vietnam veterans in particular. So the Heroes Welcome Home reception will be at Chichansi Park. It'll be on May 11th. And today we want to thank this committee, thank the sponsors, thank the volunteers, and thank everyone that made this possible. So I hope we can all join us in the welcome home process. And who would like to be our spokesman? Of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for this proclamation. It means so much to us. I started this event in honor of my husband, who is a Vietnam veteran. And after being married 32 years, I heard the stories numerous times of the experience that he went through, not only while in country fighting a horrible war, but then to come home to a country that was clearly divided and didn't give them the hero's welcome home that they deserved. So it's my heart and my passion, and I've partnered with some amazing individuals. Smokey is also a Vietnam veteran, Purple Heart recipient, another hero of mine. And then we've partnered with AMVETS, Grizzlies organization, Channel 47, plus some business leaders, Lance and his team, helping us to get the word out. Please come. This is our chance to honor these men and women. And then Lemoore, Mary from Lemoore, we are so thankful for all of the servicemen and women that will be coming out to help welcome home these Vietnam veterans. It's truly, truly an honor. So please join us. It's a night like you just can't imagine. It's very emotional.
Well, it is so well attended. So last year, we had all the Vietnam veterans come down to the field, the ball field. So at home plate, it stretched all the way to the left field wall, all the way to the right field wall with these fantastic heroes in our community. And it was such a moving sight to see all of them together and tears in their eyes and finally getting that welcome home that they so much deserved. So please come out and join us, show your support, and we love to see you all there. So Madam Clerk, could you read our proclamation, please?
Whereas the second annual Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans event will be celebrated on Saturday, May 11, 2019 at Chichansi Park in downtown Fresno to once again honor and celebrate the sacrifices these veterans made to our country. The Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Committee has again partnered with AMVETS, the Fresno Grizzlies, local businesses and residents as they present this year's theme, Honoring, Healing, Educating, to our beloved Valley Vietnam veterans. And whereas the Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans event not only gives our citizens a chance to honor these heroes, but stand proud with our veterans and their families and the brave men and women who selflessly answered the nation's call. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby proclaim Thursday, May 2nd, 2019, to be Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day in the city of Fresno.
Now we have another proclamation. Member Soria, if you'd like to come down and share your proclamation with everyone here, that'd be great. Mike's all warmed up for you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I want to call up all the Access Plus Capital, the director, the board members. I know that we have a few of the small business owners that have been also beneficiaries of the great work that Access Plus Capital has done. So if you guys all want to join me right now. So I am very thrilled to be able to do this special proclamation to an awesome organization. I've been actually on the board of it for the last couple years. And today, or this month, we celebrate 10 years of the great work that Access Plus Capital has done for our small business community, not only here in Fresno area, but throughout the entire valley as we have expanded further out to Kern County, and we're now up in Modesto area. And so I want to thank first of all, the staff really for their tireless work in making sure that they reach out to the small business community. These businesses are the types of businesses that don't qualify for the traditional loans made by our banks around here. And so it's just been great to see the work and the impact that they've done over the 10 years. This afternoon, they will be having a reception, but I thought that it was important for us to highlight them for the work that they've done, not only here in the city of Fresno, but throughout the valley. So I'll pass it on to Salam or Leanne. Sure. You want to say a few words?
Thank you, Councilmember Soria, and thank you for all of your efforts with the team. I'm the board chair of Access Plus Capital. And some of you may know I'm also the CEO of the Economic Development Corporation. And there's no better calling in Fresno County than to ensure that we put people to work, that we give small businesses a chance. This is the heart and soul of our community, is building up our community. And that's the thing that Access Plus Capital does. It gives people a chance that haven't had a chance before. So we want to thank all of you, this community, for really being a part of what it is that we all do, and that really is helping small businesses, helping individuals grow. And I do want to say a special thank you to the board. As you said, the staff is out there everywhere, I think 24 hours a day doing the work. But the board also steps up. We meet on a regular basis. We go over all of the loans that are available, and really look at what comes before us and how's this going to change people's lives and how can we give people a chance. So to the board that's up here, thank you for your 10 years of hard work, of the commitment that you have to this organization. And again, thank you to Salam for all of the work that you do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. I have a couple of borrowers here, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to highlight them.
Gil, Lourdes, and you start first, and then we move on to the Cool Breeze.
We just want to say thank you to Access Capital Plus. We had a dream to open a business, and we didn't know exactly where it was going to happen. And then we walked into Access Capital, and a young man by the name of Baldiv was very welcoming. And, we work with a lot of banks, and we don't know, you just feel intimidated. But he opened his arms up, and he really made us feel welcome. And we're talking, we've seen him today, and we said, we're looking to expand. We're really close to paying off our loan, and we want to expand. And so we're just so excited. And this is my wife, my partner.
Good, good afternoon, everyone, and it's an honor to be here with you today, and we want to thank everyone. And we are a small business here downtown Fresno, Heartbeat Boxing. We are fitness and fight gym here near of all of you guys, and all you guys are welcome to come and visit. And most important, we are here because we really want to say thank you to Access Plus Capital for giving us the opportunity and have that faith in us that we'll be successful. So thank you.
And then the Cool Breeze.
Thank you, Access Plus. I was asking what we were going to do, and of course I didn't know we were going to speak. So thank you, Access Plus, for everything that you guys do. And so we are Cool Breeze Solar Hats. We are a solar hat manufacturing company right here in Fresno, California. We're located on Golden State Boulevard, and Access Plus did step in when we were transitioned into a larger facility and needing more help because we took on a new vendor, Walmart, which kind of came on board with ease, if I could say that graciously. And so I just wanted to thank them for all of their help and their support and still checking on me to make sure that I'm alive and kicking. So I want to just say thank you again to everybody here. And buying hats. Yes. And they bought hats.
So those are two great examples of just the businesses that this organization has been able to impact. I just want to highlight two things just so folks know. In 2016, Access Plus Capital was the largest SBA microloans to African Americans in the state of California. That's pretty remarkable. And in 2018, which was last year, 50% of its loans went to women-owned businesses. So when we're talking about, that's the type of work that this organization has done. And I want to say, because there's been a lot of investment in the downtown area by the city of Fresno, well, Access Plus Capital has also stepped up. And so they've provided millions of dollars of loans to 23 businesses in downtown Fresno, again, to support the revitalization efforts that the city has so much invested in. So we want to thank Access Plus Capital, its board members, its staff for all the great work. We obviously want you guys to continue on 10 more years and on. So again, congratulations. And so what I want to do is have the clerk read the proclamation for the record.
Whereas in 1993, Fresno ELC began serving the community with microloans, and whereas since 2008, Access Plus Capital, a subsidiary of Fresno ELC, helped provide over $28.1 million in loans to 820 businesses in the Central Valley. And whereas of the 820 loans, 70% of the loans were given to people of color, and 33% were awarded to women, creating diversity in the local businesses. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Fresno Mayor and Council does hereby join Access Plus Capital in their 20th anniversary celebration, and does further declare May 2nd, 2019 to be Access Plus Capital Day in the City of Fresno.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Such an impressive resume of the things you've contributed to our community. Thank you again. Okay, next ceremonial presentation will be by the Mayor's Office. This will is a proclamation of Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. Day in the city of Fresno. Good to see you, Mayor, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. We're here to honor Norman Norwood Jr., who actually was I believe my first appointment on the Disability Advisory Commission, and he did a terrific job. We're sad for his passing, and I don't know if you want to say a few words, Shannon.
Thank you, Mayor. It's fitting that we're doing this today because the Blackstone Strategic Plan was a big passion project for JR, for Norman Norwood, our commissioner on the Disability Advisory Commission. And I first met him actually over a phone call. He had called me up and said, there's a missing section of sidewalk on Blackstone. What can we do about this? And then a couple weeks later, I was doing training, and his friend Ryan approached me and said, I know someone who would be really good for your commission. And lo and behold, it was the same polite, kind gentleman. And pretty thereafter, I got a chance to meet him, and I said, the mayor's office needs to meet this man because he was just so unique and special. And the work that he did in the few years that he was here advising the city of Fresno is tremendous. And it has been a gift for me to be friends with him and to recognize him today because he really has made a big impact. And I know I'm not alone in saying that he will be missed. So thank you, Mayor, for honoring Norman today.
He was a powerful and kind voice for the disability community. City Clerk, would you read the proclamation?
Whereas Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. was a great man and a powerful advocate for the disabled community. And whereas Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. was Mayor Brand's first appointment to the Disability Advisory Committee and an important voice for access and inclusivity for people with disabilities. And whereas in his few years of service on the Disability Advisory Committee, Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. was involved in many initiatives to improve accessibility throughout the city of Fresno. And whereas Mr. Norwood was persistent and passionate about the things he cared about and the people he loved, he was a good friend and an advocate for all access in all aspects of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the Fresno City Council do hereby honor the life and legacy of Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. and do hereby proclaim Thursday, May 2nd, 2019 to be Norman J.R. Norwood Jr. Day in the city of Fresno.
Congratulations, Mr. Norwood, and thank you again for your service. Next, we have the Mayor's Office with a proclamation of Peace Officers Memorial Day, which is May 12th through May 18th as National Police Week. Mayor, Chief Dyer.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome.
Chief, come on up. You're all decked out. You look like General Patton. This is a proclamation for the National Police Week and Police Officers Memorial Day, and I'm actually going to read the first paragraph. It says, the Mayor and City Council of Fresno acknowledge the sacrifices made by the men and women of law enforcement who have lost their lives in service to its citizens, and to the ceremony in their honor celebrated at noon Thursday, May 2nd, 2019 at the Fresno County Courthouse. We're indebted, the entire community, to the work you guys do. Chief, you want to say a word?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for your support. Paul, thank you for this. And, we had the opportunity to speak today at the memorial, and it was attended by a lot of community members. It was attended by probably a couple of hundred of officers, and it was for the purpose of recognizing the incredible sacrifice that law enforcement makes. 8 police officers in the state of California lost their life this past year. In the performance of their duties. We had family members there of loved ones who had lost their life in the past. And as I said to the families today as I spoke, I heard this from a lady here recently who had lost her son 25 years ago in a violent act. And what she said was so powerful to me that I will never forget this. And she said, although the families will never forget, they will get through it. And I think we forget sometimes as a society, whether it's military personnel who give of their life or police officers who give of their life, we sometimes take that for granted. And I want us to just reflect for a moment on all of those individuals that are out there who are serving our communities today. They are the ones that stand between good and evil. They are the ones that stand between civilization and anarchy. They are the thin blue line. And I believe we should give thanks to them each and every time we see them. and I hope that you will. And I want to thank the mayor and the council for this proclamation today. It is an honorable profession, one that unfortunately over the years has been attacked, both physically attacked and attacked in a manner to degrade that profession. And so I thank you, all of you, for being here today, for supporting the men and women who serve not only in our country, but in our law enforcement family. Thank you. God bless you. Our honor guard also has challenge coins. These are the Peace Officer Memorial Challenge coins that we're going to be presenting. One to you, Mayor, first, and then I'm going to have the honor guard go ahead and present the other ones to each and every one of the council members in recognition of this day. Thank you. You guys come down. You need a stretch anyway.
What about please, Chief? Por favor.
Por favor.
Thank you, Chief, and really for all the brave men and women of the Fresno PD who really, over the last 10 years I've been here, and with limited resources, have formed a thin blue line.
Thank you. Here you go, my brother. Oh. Thank you. Oh.
You got the young buck right next to too. All right.
Of course you do, man.
You could. Okay. City Clerk. Okay, would you guys ready? Would you read the proclamation for the record?
Whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifice of their police department. And whereas the men and women of the Fresno Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, and now therefore be it resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the City Council of the City of Fresno, do hereby call upon the citizens of Fresno and upon all patriot, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of Sunday, May 12th through Saturday, May 18th as National Police Week with the appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an invaluable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and securities of all citizens. Be it further resolved that we call upon the citizens of Fresno to observe Thursday, May 2nd, 2019 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in the city of Fresno in honor of those law enforcement officers who through their courageous deeds have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in their performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes.
Yes, so Mayor, you're up again with the 3 in a row. Hey, lucky third number, so here we go.
Thank you, Council President. Come on up. Come on up. Fresno has a rich history of raising and nurturing great poets. Come on up. Come on up. Come up, Lilia. United States Poet Laureates Philip Levine and Juan Felipe Herrera both hail from Fresno, and names like Gary Soto and Brian Turner have helped build Fresno's international reputation. We chose James Tyner as our first Poet Laureate in 2013. In 2015, we selected Lee Herrick as our Poet Laureate. And in 2017, we chose Brian Medina, former student of Herrera and a longtime advocate of Fresno's art community. Every 2 years, we choose another Poet Laureate. Thanks to the recommendation of Lilia Chavez and the Fresno Arts Council, it's my honor today to announce the City of Fresno's new Poet Laureate, Marisol Baca. We'll bring her up later. Woo! A little about Marisol. She grew up in Fresno and attended Bullard High. She graduated from Fresno State and earned her MFA degree from Cornell, but moved back to her hometown to write, to teach, and inspire people. She teaches at Fresno City College, has become an important figure in the growth of women's literary voices in the Central Valley. Maricel has spoken eloquently about the richness of Fresno's diverse community, and her work celebrates that diversity. I hope she'll share a small portion of her talent and creativity with us. Maricel has written something special for this occasion. So everybody's up here. So ladies and gentlemen, let me officially present Fresno's newest poet laureate, Maricel Baca. Woo!
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of the council. I'd like to introduce Bruce Kalkowski, the board president of the Fresno Arts Council. Bruce?
I'd just like to congratulate Maricel on this. I'm so proud to have our first woman poet laureate and a first woman of color poet laureate. Congratulations.
It's very fitting that this presentation be made immediately following the presentation for the peace officers. When we think about peace and public safety, we don't often think about the arts. However, the arts are those that bring us our humanity. When we engage in the arts, we are better people. We behave in better ways. We engage with each other in more positive ways. And so, in fact, the arts are very much a part of public safety. And so I really appreciate the mayor for making it part of the city's responsibility to select a poet laureate every other year. This is a program that has brought Fresno to national prominence. Our poet laureates have been written up in the New York Times. I understand that Marisol will be written up in Ms. Magazine. So, so certainly the arts in Fresno are alive and well, and we appreciate your support so very much. Thank you. But now, Marisol.
I'm going to read a letter of recommendation, then we'll let you have the honors. It is with distinction and pleasure that I join the people of Fresno in congratulating you and your selection as Fresno's Poet Laureate. Poetry is a powerful literary tool to help people express themselves and creatively and communicate with others, and your voice serves as an example of excellence to young writers, women, and our diverse community. And my eyes are hard reading this slow font. I need about using 18 font. Old age, Bruce. This appointment speaks to the great work you have done and will continue to do as an ambassador to the city. We are fortunate to have you sharing your unique talent with your students at Fresno City College. Please accept my very best wishes as you begin work as Fresno's Poet Laureate, and you've got a lot of people to measure up to. There's some good people there. I look forward to hearing from you about your work and accomplishments over the next 2 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yay, thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to put this down so that I can read. I also have to use 18 font. In fact, that's what this is. That's why it looks a little longer than it is. I want to personally thank the City of Fresno, Fresno City Council, the members, the mayor. I'd also like to thank the previous Poets Laureate from Fresno, James Tyner, Lee Herrick, Brian Medina. There are big shoes to fill. I'd also like to thank Lilia Chavez and the Fresno Arts Council, everyone that is there promoting the arts in Fresno, and for that wonderful introduction that is timely and yeah, well said, thank you. I'd also like to thank those who nominated me and who believe in me, Rhonda Gerard and Connie Hales for Poet Laureate, my family for supporting me and who are all here with me today. And here's, and to my mama, Barbara Baca, who's here today. Here's to the next 2 years of fruitful creativity, giving back, and responsibility. And also, I wanted to say a thank you to the veterans that were here today, and to all who are everywhere else. It was particularly nice to hear about them being talked about. I wrote a poem for Fresno. The poem is titled "The Origin of Certain Place Names," and it's for Fresno, named for the abundant ash trees lining the San Joaquin River. Fresno, Fresno, Fresno. I say Fresno, and the city blows out of my mouth as an exhale. I say Fresno and ask for her help in writing this poem. And she answers me when I give her time to speak. Her voice is chain link fence bouncing, cry of engine and helicopter, wind in a field of wheat. 3 ash trees growing in a half circle on the edge of the bank of the San Joaquin River, like 3 sisters born in the valley. First sister, foothill, ash. Caroline paints the blackbirds that point to the sky. Caroline paints landscapes stolen from her dreams in the night. She says, "The highway that takes me out of this desert has become like a wide-winged bird, and I am scared of being anything but who I am. And the fields are forever drinking water that sprays from sprinkler pumps. This valley, what does it really look like? The hands of my mother as she combs through my black hair." Second sister, California ash. Gao turns the light on to finish her reading. Gao's hands draw a song sparrow in between the lines she is reading. She thinks, "I've spent my life searching for a way to say your name." The intensity of fog in the winter, the grapevines in the early dark, distances shrouded in shapes so familiar they look like foothills smoking. The long-legged man running past my side. I look for him as I drive. I will eat the grapes, skins and all. And third sister, 2-petal ash. Ome taps her foot and presses record. Ome's feet are clay-colored sparrows. Their wings beat to the sound in their hearts. She says, "I am going to dance. I have fallen in love in an almond orchard, and I'm going to dance." Fresno is 3 voices and many. It is the kind of city that walks with you, takes a short ride to the store with you, stays later at your place than expected, dances with its slow poem arms at your house party, eats tacos al pastor in a booth with you, gets lost in a suburban neighborhood near Sunnyside with you. It may call you in the evening to tell you to walk outside and look at the moon. A moon that somehow always seems like a Fresno moon. Low-hanging, orange in the trees, like a barn owl's heart-shaped face, looking down from above. Thank you.
This is our poet laureate. Give her a stand. Maricel, you're truly, I'm inspired. You give us a gift to the city of Fresno. You'll be one of our best poet laureates. I wish you the best. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you so very much.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that this is the first Thursday of the month, which is Art Hop downtown and in the Tower District. Come out. It will blow your mind. We are hopping down here.
And we invite you to a reception at the Fresno Arts Council tonight for Art Hop in honor of Marisol.
You got to take a picture?
Congratulations again, Marisol. That was a fantastic poem. I got chills just thinking about it. It's so good. So we will now, if your family would like to join you outside, they're going to do some photo ops on the stairs in the lobby. So hate to have you miss the next proclamation, but I understand, family. Thank you so much. Don't forget the little one. There you are. Again, it's my pleasure and honor to be here today before you with our final proclamation. I heard about Camp Kisum from Andy. She's the District 4. Andy, come on down here. Bring your friends with you, please. Come on down. So I heard about it from her. She will be attending. This is her second year. She will be a counselor during the summer. And was anyone else here from Camp Kisum?
Some 4 people.
Well, come on down. This is your moment. We've been waiting for this. So, as we know, cancer is an awful disease to deal with. For me, it sounds like I'm doing a biography today, but for me, my mom is a cancer survivor. She had breast cancer, and she's so strong and wonderful, and she's alive today. She's 92 years old, and she's going to be here, our next presentation, a Woman of the Year at the age of 93. So we went through that. But it's tragic that children have to go through that as well as adults. So we have a remedy for the children that have to endure and support and love those that are the victims of cancer. So this fantastic group here are part of Camp Kisum, a nonprofit organization to support children that have been affected by their parents' cancer. Fresno State is the first California State University to open up a chapter for Camp Kisum. The first Fresno State camp was established in 2015, had a total of 23 campers. Anyone want to guess what it is this year? This year, they're going to have 70 campers at this fantastic organization, what they're going to do. So thank you for providing a place for the children to be kids. And if you know of any children out there from the age of 6 to 17 who have been affected by their parents' cancer, please communicate with this fantastic organization, and they will make a summer as the most memorable summer of the children's life. So who would like to say a few words?
Been nominated. Thank you all for having us here today. This is a huge honor. When Kisum got started at Fresno State in 2015, there was a group of about 10 of us, and we got told we weren't going to be able to do it, that we wouldn't be able to take 23 kids to camp for a week. Their parents wouldn't trust us as college students at the time, and that we wouldn't be able to raise $30,000 on our own. Well, we did it, and we exceeded it, and as the chapter grows, it continues to exceed all expectations. This year, they're going to serve over 70 kiddos and raise over $75,000 as college students that are going to classes, doing internships, working hard in the community. They still go on to do all of this. As an organization, we've had a camper who started with us in our first year graduate and is now starting her own KESM chapter at Cal State Sacramento. So this organization is lifelong. It's something that stays with all of us. I was an alumni in 2014 that helped start it, graduated in 2017, and now work for a national organization and still get to give back to this chapter by overseeing them throughout the year. KESM builds a community amongst our campers, amongst our counselors, and amongst our community here in Fresno, and it's such an honor to be receiving this today and having the city of Fresno give us this great opportunity. It's something that we would never thought would happen, so thank you all.
Thank you so much. So we'll have the proclamation read at this time. This is for everyone in the group.
Whereas KESM is a nationwide nonprofit organization driven by passionate college leaders that support children through and beyond their parents' cancer. Camp KESM operates free summer camps for children impacted by a parent's cancer. And whereas there are more than 5 million children impacted by a parent's cancer, Camp KESM continues to expand to meet the need of this unique population and provides these children a safe and welcoming environment to have a life-changing experience and rediscover their childhood with the community of others who share similar experiences. And whereas the California State University, Fresno State Chapter, has worked tirelessly to develop an impactful and lasting community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby thank the California State University Fresno Chapter of Camp KESM for their dedication and compassion efforts in providing a safe haven for children and for being a child's friend through and beyond a cancer patient. Be it further resolved that we, Mayor Lee Brand, and the Fresno City Council members do hereby proclaim Thursday, May 2nd, 2019, to be Camp KESM Day in the city of Fresno.
Congratulations. There we go. I think nope. Anyway, I just wanted to say congratulations, Fresno State students. By the way, Fresno State's in my district. I'm a graduate of Fresno State, as is the mayor and a few of the council members. But anyway, Fresno State, each and every year, they contribute 1 million volunteer hours to the city of Fresno. Fresno State's, they're amazing. And you just saw a small example of what can happen when some people get an idea and they work it together, develop it together. And I can't imagine college students going to school and raising $75,000 for the most worthy cause for children. So it's I can't praise them enough. So it's an honor to have this declared their day in the city of Fresno. So thank you all very much.
Council President, I think you know what award you're in the running for.
So now we're going to proceed accordingly.
Council President, I did want to say one thing very briefly. Hopefully with the support of the council, I was very touched, I think, like everybody was, the poem. Maybe next meeting we can bring a resolution forward declaring that our city's official poem. I'm not sure if we have one yet. I'll clearly look into that. But if not, let's do it.
Well, let's maybe partner up on it.
Sure.
We can develop that with the mayor and our colleagues, and I think that's a fantastic way to honor the people in our community.
Great.
Thanks for that idea. So we don't have a quorum, so you have to spend your time watching us watch you, which is a lot more fun, trust me.
You could do council member reports and comments.
Very good.
Larry Salinas just stood up to entertain us. Hi, Larry.
So we will go to council member reports and comments. We can still do council comments and reports. Anybody punched up? Screen is clear. Fantastic. We'll move on to the consent calendar. You got to punch up faster, my friend. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Member Arias.
Just for the city manager, I'd like to have an update on the fees that are being waived as part of the waiver program. I think I sent an email earlier today on the public safety police department facility fees. And if
We will
could
get you
give
an
us-
update.
Great. And if you can also give us an update on our economic development director too, that would be great.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a comment? Okay, fine. Thank you all very much. So now we'll move on to the consent calendar. Would any council member like to pull any item from the consent calendar for discussion? No one has punched up. Do I have a motion on the consent calendar? Let me take it. Member Arias made the motion. Member Chavez seconded it. So now we move out to the public. So would anyone out here from our community like to come forward and comment on any item on the consent calendar? You can come up now and give us your opinion or your analysis or your information. Okay. All right. Thank you all.
If I may, Council President, Jim, just want to say thank you for moving on the BMX park. I appreciate all the work that you guys have done the last few months.
Yes,
So-
staff has done a good job on that.
We'll close public comment. We have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? Passes 4-0. Thank you all very much. So we have a 1:30 timed item, a hearing to consider acceptance of the Southern Blackstone Avenue Smart Mobility Strategy. We have a fantastic team here to make that presentation, and the floor is yours. Thanks for being here and welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of council. I'm Rodney Horton, a planner with the Development and Resource Management Department. I am pleased to be before you all this afternoon to present on the Southern Blackstone Smart Mobility Strategy. Joining me in council chambers today is Keith Berkhold with Fresno Metro Ministry and Thomas Kronemeyer with Community Design and Architecture. The city, in partnership with Fresno Metro Ministry and the Local Government Commission, applied for and received a grant to study and develop feasible recommendations to implement the Complete Streets vision within a general plan for Blackstone Avenue. The grant award from the California Department of Transportation's Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program totaled roughly $315,865. And after a couple of years of hard work, staff is very pleased to be before you this afternoon to present on the strategy and also hold a public hearing for council to consider the following staff recommendation that include the adoption of a finding that there is no possibility that acceptance of the Southern Blackstone Avenue Smart Mobility Strategy will have a significant effect on the environment and is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15061. B3, and the adoption of a resolution accepting the Southern Blackstone Avenue Smart Mobility Strategy. Today's hearing has been noticed in the Fresno Bee and Vida en Valle in accordance with the Fresno Municipal Code. The Southern Blackstone Avenue Smart Mobility Strategy basically is a toolkit that's complete with feasible recommendations for improvement to the public right-of-way to make Blackstone Avenue a complete street. The public right-of-way includes the sidewalk, street, and intersection, and improvements are designed to increase safety and access to all roadway users, improve pedestrian crossings, and overall enhance the streetscape to create a sense of place and belonging along the corridor. And the project area is approximately 2.5 miles extending from Dakota Avenue in the north to Highway 180 in the south. The project area also includes Abbey Avenue all the way down to Highway 180 as shown on the screen. The project area includes 3 segments. One is north of Shields to Dakota, which serves as the entryway into the what we would hope to envision being a promenade, which is Shields to Hedges. And that particular area is pretty much anchored by between the area of Shields and Hedges is anchored by Manchester Center in the north and Fresno City College in the south, which is a primary area for a walkable, bikeable promenade between those two anchor groups on the corridor. And then, of course, Hedges to Highway 180, which is the gateway to the Tower District, really tying in Blackstone Avenue to Tower. Earlier in my remarks, you heard me use the term complete streets. And I'm going to just filter it out with all the planning jargon and just basically summarize it as complete streets or streets for everyone of all walks of life and income levels. Pedestrians on foot or in a wheelchair, transit users, motorists, and bicyclists. And the benefits of complete streets include an increase in safety by reducing crash risk and fatalities among pedestrians and bicyclists, improving the environment by reducing the amount of vehicle miles traveled, which results in less air pollution, and complete streets improvements also catalyze private sector development. This is the existing conditions of Blackstone right now, and the story of Blackstone Avenue is this. Out of 110 feet of existing right-of-way, 98 feet is reserved solely for the vehicle, leaving the remaining 12 feet for pedestrians. And the goal of the strategy is to provide those feasible recommendations to rebalance some of that. And as you see in some of the photos that we have in a presentation, you can see that there's a lot of macadam, very little concrete. And so that's a very wide street. It's difficult for pedestrians to be able to traverse it in their travels to retail centers, employment centers, school, and other places where we all tend to travel to acquire our needs and services. You can see that there are pedestrians on the corridor and they need to use it in order to access transit. You can see that there's undefined area for bicyclists. The bicyclists are in areas that compete with pedestrian traffic on the sidewalk as well. There are limited crossing opportunities, and as you can see in this particular photo that shows, the person is crossing a street that's very difficult to get to the other side. He's taken his life in his hands there, and the most important part of it, he's going to a side of the street where there is no sidewalk. So that's a difficult situation that we currently have on the corridor. Of course, the bikes are competing with the limited space that pedestrians currently have on Blackstone. And again, we go back to the few crossing opportunities along the corridor. If you want to go directly across the street in certain aspects of the corridor, you're literally going a quarter mile out of your way to cross directly in front of you. And so what is the city's commitment to improving Blackstone Avenue? Well, it's quite simple. It started with a vision and a general plan, which was approved back in 2014. There is standards within the development code that provides for requiring an easement to install a 12-foot sidewalk, and we also have the over $50 million investment in bus rapid transit along the corridor as well as along the Kings Canyon corridor. And of course, City Council and the administration's commitment to fulfilling the general plan's vision by accepting, first applying for and ultimately accepting the grant from Caltrans to complete this study. And at this time, I'd like to give way to Keith Berthold with Fresno Metro Ministry for his presentation.
Thank you, Rudy.
Good afternoon, Keith. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, Council President and Council members. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. This is truly a city-community partnership. It was from the very beginning, we applied together and we've been working on this together. There was a procurement process, and the city hired community design and architecture out of the Bay Area. They had actually previously worked on a fig garden study for the city. There was a community engagement advisory committee formed, which actually guided the efforts for outreach. There was extensive outreach to the community and engagement of the community. Through CDNA and community input, there was conceptual designs for the transformation of Blackstone to help implement the general plan. And as you know, a draft report was released. The community engagement was extensive. Number of workshops, extensive, intense outreach by Metro, Ivan and Elizabeth and Jade and our independent study from Fresno State, Elijah, calling business owners, calling property owners, engaging the community and having input into this process. I think it's really important to note that this is consistent with a number of the aspects of trying to use the general plan policy to revitalize Central Fresno. This is an area that really needs investment, it really needs attention, and frankly, this street is an opportunity to push that further quicker than almost any other initiative could. There's a Better Blackstone Design Challenge. We have 5 design firms that are behind this. Fresno City College and the State Center Community College District, Chancellor Paul Parnell is here today, are supportive of this. I just spoke with Mo Bagunu, the shopping center director. He's been supportive. He couldn't be here today because of construction going on at Manchester. And we have a relationship with Jake Lingo. He's developing the project of McKinley and Blackstone. He sent his support for this project. So we've got fairly extensive support with the community and big institutions. And we believe this section of Blackstone, especially between Fresno City College and Manchester Center, offers an opportunity to create a place where the whole Central Valley can convene in Fresno if we get the street right and we get the investment. So we're really grateful for your consideration. We know you'll have some questions. Faxes here, traffic engineering's here, our consultants are here, our community's here. We're just very grateful to be able to present this to you today.
Thank you, Keith. Well done as usual, my friend. Okay. Is there any other members to present? Mr. Bergthal? Rodney, it's back to you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Quick moment there. I just wanted to go into some of the core, very briefly, recommendations of the strategy. Before I do, I just wanted to let you know that we spent a good amount of time coordinating with our other city departments, primarily Public Works and FACTS as well, throughout the entire project to make sure that the recommendations are feasible. And the very first core recommendation is to really test the recommendations out between Shields and McKinley, which is a 1-mile stretch, as you can see on the screen there. Again, connecting Manchester Center in the north to Fresno City College in the south, and really testing that out to see how functional the recommendations would be before we would dump a considerable amount of money, roughly around $53 million on the corridor. The second is rebalancing that space within the public right-of-way to accommodate pedestrians and bicyclists by removing a lane in certain segments of the corridor going north and south to acquire the space for a wider sidewalk and a cycle track as well. The other thing that the other recommendation that the strategy recommends is looking to further study the reduction of the posted speed limit along the corridor. Currently, the posted speed limit is 40 miles per hour. At peak hour, generally the cars are around 30 miles per hour, 35 miles per hour. And as you can see on the screen there, the lower the speed limit, the greater chance of survival for a pedestrian should there be a collision between a vehicle and a pedestrian. The strategy also recommends increasing the frequency or the amount of frequencies of crossing and improving pedestrian and bicycle-friendly intersection improvements to allow for greater ease as pedestrians and bicyclists seek to not just get access to the corridor, but to be able to go between both sides of the street, both the north side and the south side of the street. There's some other improvements. One is already underway, which includes upgrading lighting and undergrounding utilities. There's a thought and an idea that the community really liked, which was Blackstone Avenue branded banners and wayfinding signage along the corridor, and as well as additional street trees being planted along the corridor. I can tell you that the very first workshop that we did a walking audit of the corridor, so we went out and actually got a chance to really get a sense of how the corridor is for the folks that are along it having to walk. And you really appreciate the idea of additional street trees along the corridor in 105-degree heat. So that was a lot of feedback that we heard from the community. And I just want to go in to just one quick thing, just so that council understands. These concepts and recommendations came from and originated from the community. This wasn't something that came from the planning staff or anyone on the third floor. It was the folks that live along the corridor or adjacent to it that came out to all of the workshops that we had and really was supportive of wanting to create a sense of place along the corridor. And again, the staff recommendation is on the screen for council's consideration. And at this time, I'd like to give way. I understand there's a lot of folks that would like to speak to you this afternoon. So if you have any questions, the project team is here and ready to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Rodney. Great presentation. We will go out to the public, and I have some cards, the yellow cards that are filled out. And the first person is John Trotter on this particular item. Next would be Robert Turner. And I think it's Celeste would be the third person. Fourth person would be Annie. So we'll start with John. Welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the council and city management. My name is John Trotter. My wife and I moved back to the U.S. and to Fresno 5 years ago after many years overseas. We chose Fresno for family and affordability. We looked in central Fresno for its older homes and the Know Your Neighbors communities. We found a house in the historic Porter Tract with neighbors who welcomed us as if we were returning friends, not invading strangers. Soon we were sharing their stories of decades of family lives on Cambridge Avenue. When Yvonne and Keith approached us with the idea of commenting on the South Blackstone project, it seemed a way for us to both learn more about our large neighborhood and to contribute from our own somewhat different experiences. Over the last 2 years, we have met with the Better Blackstone folks, with community members, and with city revitalization experts. Everyone's ideas combined into a strategy that we believe can be a catalyst to creation of a part of Fresno with a new vision. That new vision includes compact, not sprawling residences, folks walking on the streets and using efficient public transportation, not forced to use cars for every visit to work, stores, and restaurants. The shift from cars for everything would benefit people with limited resources, my own aging baby boomers and our unavoidably diminishing capabilities, and much younger people who are increasingly choosing to be less car dependent. My favorite aspect of the Southern Blackstone Avenue Smart Mobility Strategy is that it calls for cost-effective testing, so-called paint and plastic implementation. I would suggest that this test area should be as large and robust as we can afford in order to inspire our community with real on-the-ground improvements. City management should take this opportunity to endorse action that improve our part of Fresno. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Very impressive. I just want to indicate to the signs on the left, Shields, you're upside down. And the other 3 or 4 are blank facing us. I don't know if you wanted us to see the sign. There you go. And if you want to take a picture of that, you can come forward where the speaker would normally stand and take all the photos you'd like. It's really, it's pretty cool. And as well as all the little placards that you guys have. I think Jay had something to do with that. I see him running around. We work out at the gym together, so. All right, next, is it Andy? Okay. John, you want to turn around? You can be in the middle of Blackstone Avenue.
Rodney, you're my photo, Rodney.
Rodney, yeah, one of you. All right, a friendly little break in the action. Good afternoon, sir. If you would give us your name and address, you can pull that mic right down to you.
My name is Robert Turner. I live at 406 North San Pablo in Fresno. I come here today wearing 2 hats. First, I'm the chair of the Land Use and Transportation Conservation Committee of the Sierra Club's local chapter, and I want to let you know that the Sierra Club Tehipite chapter is wholeheartedly in support of this project. I've been following the city plans for several years here, since 2012 when I arrived in Fresno. The active transportation plan, the Southwest Fresno specific plan, bus rapid transit, transformative climate communities program, and now the Southern Blackstone Avenue smart mobility strategy. They all fit very well together as proposals to transform and revitalize Fresno. The Sierra Club is particularly in favor of this exemplary idea of having a pilot project. We'll spend a modest amount of money initially in order to test out the traffic patterns by restriping lanes, painting higher visibility crosswalks, placing up bollards in order to define a cycle track so that we can experiment with the transportation patterns and make sure that everything is right before spending a lot of money on the infrastructure. That's a wise approach. Beyond that, I personally support this project as a resident of Fresno. I live in the Blackstone corridor, just 3 short blocks west of Blackstone, close to Belmont Avenue. That's in the Lowell district. I moved downtown from Clovis in order to be able to better access places I go to by bicycle and not have to spend an excessive amount of money driving, and also it's better for the environment to do so. I live on a fixed income. As a retired person, I'm 67 years old. I participate in the Better Blackstone workshops, and including the walk and design workshops, the so-called walk audits, where we walk portions of the avenue in groups. I am a bicyclist. I'm one of the bicyclists that's in the fearless category. If I don't have a lane a bike lane to ride in or a bike trail, I will take a lane with the traffic. But I know that many of the bicyclists in this city are uncomfortable riding with traffic and would really appreciate having separate bike tracks. And so the cycle track is an important part of this plan. I hope the improvements in the movement of automobiles, slowing down traffic, and making the corridor safe for pedestrians and bicyclists will bring more people to the avenue on foot and thereby generate more commerce, which will benefit not only those like me who live within walking distance of Blackstone Avenue, but everyone in Fresno who will come to see Blackstone as a corridor for viable development to create more commerce, opportunities for investment, jobs for those who live close by. It will be great to have more people working close by where they live, and this strategy will facilitate more of that. I recommend the plan and its initial implementation. Thank you.
Thank you, fearless John Trotter. On that bicycle, please be careful. Please be careful. Next is Celeste. And by the way, folks, I haven't talked to my colleagues, but once you're up here, you kind of have a feel for things. And I have a feeling that this is going to pass today. I just have that feeling. So if you support it or not, that'd be great. And we'll keep moving things along. So Celeste, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. My name is Celeste Martinez, and my address is 5115 North 9th Street, apartment 104. As you know, I'm a member of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee representing District 4. Yes. And as an avid cyclist who commutes and rides recreational, I'm here to show my full support for the Southern Blackstone Smart Mobility Project. While having ridden down Blackstone, I've been the victim of harassment by motorists as well as being struck by a car in 2010. But even so, I still enjoy riding my bicycle every day down Blackstone, down McKinley, down everywhere I need to go because that is my favorite form of transportation. Improving Blackstone is more than just a beautification process. It's about giving everyone the ability to transport themselves however they may wish to and to do so in a safely manner. By improving Blackstone, not only are we helping improving economically, we're making Fresno a beautiful place to live again. By speaking with you today, I hope it emphasizes the need for more walkable sidewalks as well as safer lanes for cyclists, because as we all know, it may be a struggle out there, but we all enjoy riding a bicycle.
Thank you, Celeste, and thank you for representing District 4. And you please be safe as well. Next is Ann, and then we'll have Donald and Abigail. And welcome.
Hi, it's been a long time since I've been before council. My name is Annie Goodman, and I live at 1296 North Poplar in the Tower District. I'm the former president of the Heaton Area Residents, which is the neighborhood encompassed by Van Ness to Blackstone, Olive to McKinley. I came late to the game of knowing about this strategy and was only apprised of it by a neighbor that said that awful word, eminent domain, which got me involved. Turns out there was no eminent domain. I listened to the strategy, I saw their plans, and I thought, okay, they need my voice and the voice of my neighborhood behind them. So I have been to the Planning Commission meeting, and we organized a neighborhood meeting on behalf to find out more about it. And we, as residents, didn't have a clue on what to do about Blackstone, but they do. They have a plan. They have a good plan. And I'm in complete support of it, and so are my neighbors. So I came representing them to let you know. Personally, I've known about 6 people that have been hit by cars on Blackstone between Olive and McKinley. Also, they've been on bicycles and got hit, and they are no longer with us. So reducing the speed there would be beneficial. There isn't an opportunity to walk across that wide street. You know, you have to make it, if you go across, which I thought you could go at any corner, that it was legal, but apparently I'm mistaken. That's the way it was when I was a kid. I grew up in the neighborhood, and I've been in there since 1956. So, been there a long time. And we reclaimed the streets in our neighborhood back when I was away for a while, and I moved back in and bought a home in 1988. And we started Neighborhood Watch there and had block captains on every block. And we were the first neighborhood in the city of Fresno to get our streets repaved. We were oil dirt in 1995. Well, we're waiting for a repavement thing, but that'll happen one day soon, hopefully. You'll hear more about that later from me, because that's one of my goals in coming back. My granddaughter now lives in the neighborhood. That's 4, and I want to make it safe for her. And my son lives in the neighborhood, daughter-in-law. We're keeping the neighborhood viable. My house was built in 1918. So, and I know a lot of the elderly neighbors, and it's just fantastic that some of the people that lived there and grew up there and graduated in the 70s, that they came back to take care of their parents, and they're now homeowners there. So I fully support this, and hopefully we have your support, and I'd love to hear how fantastic you think it is and that we passed. Thank you very
Annie.
much.
Thank you, Annie. Appreciate it. Donald, and then we'll have Abigail, and I'm not sure, Deiglis is the first name. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. You'd be the third speaker, so first we'll go with Donald. Welcome, sir.
Hi, my name is Donald Bradley Urquidez. I live in downtown Fresno, and I was introduced to this project from an art night. And I've only been living here for a year now, but I've definitely noticed a difference between North and South Fresno, and I believe this project will bring about a social mobility between both ends by beautifying the city, by making this street more accessible to pedestrians. It also bring people from North Fresno and also South Fresno to connect as well. I think Keith hit on a point too, that it brings a sense of place where people can meet and gather. That's it.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Abigail? And after Abigail, last name Wells.
Hi there. My name's Abigail Smur, and my address is 1143 East Olive, Apartment 4 in the Tower District area. And my former neighborhood was Yale Avenue near Clinton and Blackstone area. And so to briefly introduce myself, I'm 24 years old, a graduate student at Fresno State University. And just in about 2 weeks, I'm going to finish my credential to become a secondary ELA teacher within Fresno Unified School District. So I just want you guys to consider our Blackstone Avenue. I'm sure most of you maybe cross Blackstone to come downtown possibly. And I truly care about Blackstone Avenue in this proposal because it's a major cross street that I use daily to access to my work, school, home, and other areas of Fresno. So I participate and support this proposal and have been to the design meetings, helped recruit volunteers, and spread the word in my neighborhood. This movement reflects what my neighbors and I want to see Blackstone, transformed into. Some of the design plans may seem outlandish, but Fresno is a growing city, and this would benefit Blackstone and be a big investment for the future. My current frustrations with Blackstone Avenue are the lack of safety for pedestrians and bike crossing. I mostly commute by cycling just to help reduce carbon footprint and to encourage my students to be outside and active. And so I aspire to see Blackstone become a safer street with wider sidewalks, multiple crossing points for pedestrians, newer bike lanes, and more space for me to feel comfortable. And so in conclusion, I hope you guys will consider this project. I'm also a big supporter of the reduced speed limits, as I've been walking in my neighborhood or had guests out and they've almost been hit as people drive over 40 miles per hour. So I also am in support of this for my students who I know access on their bikes and walking to get to school. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Abigail. Give my regards to your father. He's an old friend of mine. Next, we have, Deigles. Last name Wells? Degley. Pardon me for that. And after, the next one will be James Collins.
Good afternoon. My name is Deigles Delgado Wells, and I'm a resident of District 7, 1305 East Princeton. As a resident, I walk as much as I can, and it's very difficult to walk even from my house, which is super close to Manchester Mall. It's difficult to walk because the speed and the lack of complete street and walkability, and it's very difficult. So I'll ask you to consider this initiative, which is very beneficial for the residents in this specific area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. James Collins, and then Dwayne McCoy. Benita Vasquez will be third. Welcome, sir. Your name and address?
Hey, good evening, members of the council. My name is James Collins. I reside at 619 North Venice. I formerly resigned in by Fresno by the Fashion Fair Mall. I now reside in the Tower District. Born and raised in all over throughout the Fresno community. When I was growing up, I never crossed really Black so much except going into Manchester. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just want to remind you that this corridor has concentrated poverty. It affects the way we all not only commute, how we socialize, how we live. And I want to remind you that this is also a strategy to help break up concentrated poverty. And some of these maybe concepts that we're not really putting together are these things that affect us that are at a social level. So I want to remind you that a strategy like this can help overcome these things that have maybe were built by the past, but we can overcome the future. And I want to remind you that this could be a healthy way forward for our community as well. Thanks for the water.
Thanks, James. Cheers. Dwayne McCoy, Benita, and Zach. Those will be the last three cards I have. So please come forward. Dwayne McCoy, not here? Okay, thanks for the wave off. Benita, are you here, Benita? The next would be Zach and Toyin. Good afternoon, Zach. Give us your name and address, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zachary Antoyan. I live at 1105 North College in the Tower District. I grew up in Fresno, went to Edison High School, left when I got the chance, and then reluctantly moved back to Fresno about 3 years ago. Since then, I've had the opportunity to completely reform my idea of this city. And downtown has a really big part of that. So about 3 years ago, when you guys were considering the downtown-specific and Fulton corridor plans, I got up and used an argument saying that it will make my job easier approving those plans to convince my fellow boomerangs, or soon-to-be boomerangs, hopefully, to come back. I am a big proponent of this city to a lot of my friends who don't consider it an option, who grew up here, who I grew up with, went to Edison with, and don't consider it an option. And I think that this city's success is sort of incumbent upon convincing its sons and daughters to stay or to come back, and convincing new people to see its positives. Keith, I think, once said that downtown Fresno is the heart and Blackstone is the spine of the city, and that really resonated with me. I think this is an opportunity to change something, a part of the city, much like we did with downtown or are currently doing, to change something about the city that will convince people that this is an area that they can live and work and play. I've been a part of this process for a while now, and it's been a fantastic public process, a real model. And I think that it captures the essence of what we want this city to be. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, and I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, and encourage your friends to boomerang. We need a lot of boomerangs in our community, for sure. Next is Fernando. Good afternoon, sir, and give us your name and address.
Peace be with you.
Thank you.
My name is Fernando Paul Elizondo. I live at 1293 North Echo Avenue. I've been there for 22 years. I'm a retired federal government inspector, and I wanted to add this to the equation here. It's all good, but we need to help hold the people that build this or do the work accountable for longevity. I see it that every time they do a road, in 3 years or 2 years, we're back again to square one again, from hero to zero, and that's not right. We pay good money, we should have quality work performed. And that's just basically what I see. We need quality in this work. We won't have this problem again in 3 years or 5 years, you know. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming forward. I have all the cards are gone on this particular topic. I have other cards that will do an unscheduled communication. But right now, you don't need a card. If someone would like to come forward and address this issue, please do so. Give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Anthony Molina, and I will submit my written comments. I know I beg your indulgence. I know you're supposed to have them in 24 hours before, but I couldn't get it down at 3 minutes. So.
No worries.
I am Anthony Molina, Council President Capriolio, and esteemed council members. I reside at 8308 North Victor Avenue in Fresno. I'm a retired state-employed family physician at Fresno State for over 25 years, and also board member for the Fresno County Bicycle Coalition and chair of the City of Fresno Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. I have served as a physician in the Fresno area for over 40 years, so I'm well acquainted with the multiple health and public health epidemics of obesity and diabetes, asthma, cardiovascular disease. And these are a consequence, as we all know, of the sedentary lifestyle and air pollution as a contributor there. So I've, become involved with bicycling and walking as chair of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and I see bicycling and walking as a very relatively inexpensive and relatively simple solution to those two twin problems of air pollution and sedentary lifestyle. So I've also, since I've become involved with the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, become aware of the safety issues involved with being a pedestrian and a bicyclist, particularly in areas like Blackstone, which are wide arterials with high-speed traffic. So we, all know that we pay a tremendous price in terms of health costs, decreased quality of life, length of life, and it's kind of a trade-off we get in exchange for a relatively low cost of living here, but that's the price we pay. So the other impact, as we all know, is the high price of owning a vehicle. Gasoline prices have gone up, which has a tremendous impact on our high rates of poverty here. So biking and walking is also a solution to some of our economic problems. So I want to just say that the Smart Mobility Project is consistent with all the general plan, guidelines. We find that I wanted to also thank the council members who attended the Malda Hall ride yesterday, and staff members. We ironically rode down those same streets that we're talking about on this project, so those that participated could kind of see Blackstone up close the way that motorists don't really get a chance to see. So I know we all saw things we probably never noticed before as a result of biking and walking, and that's one of the beauties of complete streets, is that you can actually stop and shop, and you have access to school and businesses that you would not necessarily notice if you were driving by on your way downtown. So I particularly want to say the benefit of also connecting the Midtown Trail to the Tower District there. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to come forward and comment? Good afternoon. Give us
Good
your
afternoon.
Name and address, and the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. My name is Eduardo Navarro. I live at 373 West Nice Avenue. I cycle, and Blackstone is quite dangerous there, as everybody stated. That area is pretty bad. It would help out, and also it would stimulate probably more economy. That's work. That's putting people to work. That's more money being spent. It's just a better off for everybody, I feel. And I just have to vote or put my word in that, hopefully it can come through.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Very well done. Hello, sir. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Council President, council members, my name is Randy White. I live at 264 North Van Ness, downtown. And I agree with everything that's been said, and I've seen the process used, and I've seen the product, and I'm trying to use fewer words these days, and so let me just say, this is what great cities do. Enough said. Thank you.
Very well taken point there. Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Please come forward. Good afternoon. You can pull that mic right down to you.
I know I'm short.
There you go. I didn't do that.
My name is Marie Chris Torres. I live at 4714 East Clay. And thank you, council members, for giving us the opportunity to speak to you. I've been involved in a lot of different things. I'm now retired, so I'm even involved in more things. But anyway, I just wanted to say that I attend church at Cross Church, which is, if you know Blackstone, we're right next to the Most Wanted tattoo shop. So anyway, one of the things that has happened is that several members that park right there on Blackstone almost get hit when they're trying to get out of their cars because the cars are going by so fast. And then the other thing is that we had a tragedy happen where someone was crossing right in front of our church and got hit by a car. And she spent quite a few time in the hospital, and she's a resident that lives right behind where our church is. So there's danger. And then some of the things and some of the meetings that I went to with this initiative was that we had people, parents whose children go to schools that's right there off of Olive and in that school, and they said that it was very difficult for them to cross the street they were afraid sometimes with the children taking them to get to school on time. So those are some things that we have been looking at, and I just appreciate your time and your consideration of this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your time. Please come forward. How are you doing? Good to see you again. Floor is yours.
Gene Richards, 625 West Lamona, right close to Glen Agnes, in Councilmember Arias's district. I'm a founder. To give you a little background, maybe a little personal information, I'm one of the founders about 20 years ago of the Bike Pedestrian Advisory Committee, as well as the Fresno County Bicycle Coalition. I've been overseas for quite a while, and when I came back, the doctor told me that I had slightly elevated blood pressure. Since I've been back, I sold my cars because I was gone so long, but since I've been back, I tried an experiment, seeing if I could do everything on a bicycle. And so that's been about 7 years now with no car. Of course, I rely on friends occasionally. And guess what? My blood pressure is so far down that no meds, it's very low. I'm on Blackstone all the time. I frequently take Blackstone without a police escort, as we had yesterday. I don't think that's taking a risk. I'm careful, I signal, I'm respectful of drivers. I find that when you're respectful of drivers, they're generally respectful of you, especially if you give them lots of notice, you signal, you do what you're supposed to do, you're not a jerk. You probably think I'm going to talk today about why this is good for cyclists, but I'm not. Owning a home changed my conception of my city, because it was sort of a moment of, damn, this is my city. I want my city, as the gentleman just said, to look great, to be a neat place, to be cool. What a great way. Let's not think about our city as the north versus the south or the east versus the west. Let's concentrate on making a really great city. You can't have a great city if the core of your city looks like heck. And that's the way it looks right now. Blackstone is our core. Let's make it a vibrant, great, neat-looking city, a place where people want to go, want to hang out, want to go to restaurants, want to shop, want to visit their friends, want to cycle, want to walk. I'm more interested in seeing street trees all along Blackstone. Cycle track, absolutely. Pedestrians, absolutely, but lots of street trees. We need more trees. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Anyone else like to come forward? This is your opportunity. Come on down, my friend. This guy is so strong at the gym, it's incredible.
Thank you. I just have a short word. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed the signs going down and kind of replicating the image of Blackstone Avenue. But even more so, I think, in a way, Blackstone Avenue is sort of a microcosm of our city. And what we just witnessed here, I think, is also a microcosm of Blackstone, which is a microcosm of our city. But one of the things that really strikes home at me, and I hope this doesn't seem like it's a tangent or anything, but I've had the privilege of sitting down with most people in this room, hearing their stories, watching them struggle in their homes, their schools, their neighborhoods. So for me, Blackstone is not just a street that needs to be revitalized. It's actually a symbol to me. It's a symbol of our city. It's a symbol that has an experience of struggle and resilience. And I think one of the things I have discovered over the past 3 years is how much my perspective on life and the world has changed because of these conversations and these relationships I've built. One of the things that I have seen is how much people actually care about their neighborhoods and about their city, despite their background, where they walk, where they come from, what their perspective is on politics or on society. But I've also seen people who have a lot of, position, people like you guys, that also want to see a better city. I think if we really take a step back and think about it for a second, we really all just want the same thing. We want a better town for our families, for our neighbors. We want the kind of city that can reflect the familial relations that we should have with one another. I think this project is an incredible project because it pulls all these stories together into one. And it's really cool to see that all of those stories are being pulled into this kind of story of Blackstone. Someday, I hope to be able to tell that story. And then I hope also that you would be able to tell that story as well, because it's a kind of story that pulls all of our stories together into one. Thank you.
Jay, coming back for a moment, we need to get your name and address for the record. Sorry.
I just thought everybody knew me. So my name's Ivan Paz, and my address is 2704 East McKenzie.
Very good. Thank you. See you at the gym. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Anyone at all? Here we go. Good afternoon and welcome.
My name is Sheila Hakimipur. My address is 326 West River Court. I'm not living on Blackstone, but I'm a planner, urban designer here in the city of Fresno. And I'm also on a Blackstone Design Challenge group that Keith mentioned, 5 companies, one of them to be me helping, hopefully Keith to launch another project for Blackstone. So as a planner, urban designer, I see issues with Blackstone, but I'm here today to speak to you as mom. I have a college student son. He's out of the area now studying, and I look at our town, and I want this town to be a perfect town that he goes and come back and live in Fresno, brings what he learns back to Fresno. I get to all the young students, young kids like my son who lives Fresno. When I talk to them, I use this opportunity and tell them that you have responsibility to come back to Fresno and give back to our town. But our town has to be attractive for them. This is an issue for our city, that we're losing our talent, our young, and they fly away and they never come back. We go outside and we see what other towns can offer, and it's understandable that they don't want to come back. We're putting all the pieces of the puzzle together with downtown, with things we're doing in Southwest Fresno, TCC, in Chinatown, and Blackstone is another piece of puzzle that us as a town have to support to see it change and strengthen the core of our town. So our young be proud to be here or be proud to come back and be happy about it. Not just because of the family to come back, but because of the town, because they can see themselves fit in here and enjoy themselves. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I just wanted to set the record straight. Ivan, when we first met each other at the gym, our names are so weird, and we were teasing each other. You can call me Ray, and you can call me Jay, and you can call me Ray, and that's how it evolved. So anyway, you know where the love is, my friend. All right, anyone else like to come forward? Okay, we'll close. Oh, please come join us, sir. If you give us your name and address, we'll have 3 minutes.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Alejandro Salas. Vivo en el 1905 East Brown. Estoy aquí apoyando el plan porque...
Sir, hold on just a minute. We have an interpreter here that's going to help us.
Can I help you with it? My name is Carlos. I'm the
Thank you, Carlos.
If you want to start again.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Alejandro.
Good afternoon, my name is Alejandro.
Vivo en el 1905 East Brown.
I live in 1905 East Brown.
La intersección es Shields y Blackstone.
It's right there near Shields and Blackstone.
Estoy aquí apoyando el plan porque
I'm here to support this plan because
trae muchas cosas buenas para Blackstone.
it has a lot of good things for the Blackstone Avenue.
En el año pasado me han pegado, en este año me pegaron una vez estando parado en la luz roja.
I got hit one time when I was just at stoplight.
Y el año antepasado también.
And last year, same thing happened.
Los carros andan muy recio.
Cars are like, they don't respect the speed limit.
Y he querido tratar a caminar alrededor, más allá de mi casa, pero...
And I've been wanting to walk even farther from around my house.
Pero cuando miré el plan me
But when
me,
I saw
mos-
the plan,
me mostró que está muy reducido las aceras para caminar y los carros muy a alta velocidad.
the plan shows that the streets were like very small and for the cars that are driving way too fast.
Ahorita solo doy vueltas alrededor de mi cuadra.
Right now, I just go around my block.
Con el plan que están proponiendo,
With this new plan,
si ustedes lo aprueban, voy a ir un poquito más allá.
if you approve it, I can go a little farther.
En mi bicicleta y con mi niño.
Riding my bike and with my kid.
Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Carlos, for your help. Anyone else? Seeing none, then we'll close public comment. We'll bring it up here. Everybody's punched up, so here we go. First is Member Esparza.
Thank you, Council President. I want to start off by thanking everyone who came out today, Rodney, Keith, Ivan, all the city staff, all of the community partners who were a part of this effort. I represent District 7, which almost the entirety of this project, of this strategy is encompassed in, with the exception of the bottom of the west side. I share with my colleagues down the dais here. And I'm very pleased with the outcome of the strategy because I know that it was driven by community input, thanks to all the folks that I just mentioned. So we know that it was not a top-down thing. It was definitely from the bottom up, from the canvassing and the outreach and the phone calls that you folks made. That's really what made all of this possible. Because Blackstone is as critical of an artery as any boulevard in our city. And its revitalization is a critical and necessary, I would say, anchor to the revitalization of the surrounding neighborhoods. All these neighborhoods which I've walked through or lived in at one point or another, throughout my campaign trail, and even the parts that I don't currently represent, I used to represent on the county school board. I've walked all these neighborhoods in and out surrounding Blackstone. And so today, I think, is a historical moment in that passing this mobility strategy is taking a huge step forward towards realizing the general plan's vision for Blackstone and really bringing it to fruition. I'll keep my comments short because, honestly, I came here today to hear from you folks and all the work that you've done. So, in 3 words, I'm all in, and I'll be supporting this, and I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by, thank you, Member Esparza.
And sorry, one last thing.
Yes.
When we're done passing this, because I'm sure my colleagues are on board as well, I do want a picture with the signs. And if you folks want to give your council member a copy of those, I'd be happy to put up in my office. They're really cool.
I think we'd all like to be on Blackstone Avenue with those fantastic signs and these great supporters. So thank you, Member Esparza. Next is Member Soria.
Thank you, Council President. I want to also just echo the gratitude for all those that showed up. I want to thank the staff for working diligently. Sophia, Rodney, I know that you guys have been working hard at this, and then Keith with Firm. And so I want to thank, in particular, the community for being engaged and volunteering your time to make the city of Fresno the great city that it can be. And so I know that this plan outlines a great vision for this area that is the spine of our city. So I'm excited about it. If you guys have followed some of the work that I've done, hopefully in the next year and a half, we'll see 88 units of affordable housing. It's a mixed-use development that's going to have Clinica Sierra Vista, and then also a small neighborhood senior center that will come on McKinley and Blackstone, which I believe is a very important component of this plan, as it will spur further revitalization of this area. So I'm very excited about these two things working together. The couple things that I had raised initially during my meetings with the folks working on this was the consideration of displacement, because I think that that's an important issue that we have to make note, and that as we move forward and we make investments, that we think about the business owners that have been there for decades, that have poured their life savings into their small businesses, and as they revitalize, figuring out how we establish some kind of plan so that these small business owners are not just put out of business, but we find better places for them in the city of Fresno. So I wanted to make sure that I make note of that, because that's going to be something that, you know, I will be watching very closely. And then also, just wanted to ask the administration, because obviously plans are great, right? But again, it's what we do with the plan. Is it going to sit on a shelf, or are we going to make, you know, significant investments in this next budget cycle? Are we looking at the Fresno COG through Measure C dollars to figure out how we're going to begin to implement this plan, than just rather let it sit there?
So, as with many things, it's a matter of funding and priorities, and that's about all I can say at this point in time.
Well, and thank you, Jim, for that answer. But I guess my question is, you guys are developing the city budget, and I think it would be great for these individuals to know, you know, they've been working very, very hard over the last few years in putting this plan together, and obviously it looks like it's going to get support from the council. But what attempts and where in terms of priority is this for the mayor and the administration? Because I'd like to see that this budget actually highlights some of the important work. It doesn't make sense for us to continue investing millions of dollars in planning and then not begin to develop a plan to make the plan a reality.
Totally understood.
So I'm hoping that we're able to highlight, you know, some of those investments in, and have a plan to go after Measure C through the Fresno COG and other sources of funding. So those are just some of my comments. Excited to be able to help make this plan a reality. But I think that really what I will ask you guys to do is that you guys need to call the administration, make sure that you guys show up for the budget hearings, because really the only way that this plan will become a reality is if we prioritize dollars in our city budget, which will be presented to this council in the next month. So I'll encourage all of you guys to show up, make phone calls, because that's the only way that you know, we'll be able to move those things. And I'm committed to, again, from whatever I can, to make sure that there's resources. One of the main reasons that I've been a strong supporter of the Blackstone and McKinley development was because I knew how important it was to strategically locate these types of investments. And it was a challenge because it took us 4 years to get the funding, but we know that that's going to really become a reality in the next couple years. So again, thank you everyone for being here, and happy to support it.
I would like to make one comment. I believe we're in the conceptual stage of design, and we'll be doing some design activities. So I don't even know if it would be appropriate to start funding construction. It most likely wouldn't occur next year. We can certainly look at that, but it seems like we've got quite a bit of a process to go through before we would even start looking at that type of funding to construct.
All right, thank you very much. Next is Member Arias.
Thank you all. I appreciate you guys being in attendance, and for the record, my back still hurts from feeling all the potholes and cracks on the Blackstone corridor yesterday. So thank you all for making me ride my bike. I do have some technical questions though, and for the record, Councilmember Esparza didn't ride his bike, and I don't think he owns one. But we'll leave that for another day.
I was on Blackstone at City College, so
Yes,
I was there in spirit.
Yes, we all have jobs. But I do have some technical questions, Rodney, if you would. What's the current speed limit of Blackstone, the whole corridor?
I believe the current speed limit is about 40 miles per hour.
40 miles for the whole corridor?
Yes. Am I correct? Yeah, 40 miles per hour the whole corridor. Just wanted to be sure I was correct there.
And what are you proposing, what does the plan propose as a new speed limit to be?
The strategy proposes looking at reducing that from 40 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour.
Have you guys studied, and as part of this process, the potential impact for additional pollution as a result of slower speeds?
The impact for pollution, no. We just did an initial traffic analysis that supports looking into it a little bit further as far as the reduction in speed limits.
So would you reduce speed limits in the whole corridor or just in the section that is being proposed?
It would initially start in the pilot area, and then the ultimate goal would be in the entire project area to have a reduction in speed limits from 40 miles per hour to 30.
And your current scope goes from Manchester south. Why not cover the whole Blackstone corridor in this process, given that we have the same issues north of Shields?
Sure, that's a great question. We were only provided about $315,000 to just study the particular project area. Blackstone is as diverse as the city, and it would be very costly to be able to look at the entire 8-mile corridor. So we did receive the grant from Caltrans to cover from Dakota down to Highway 180. There is another project that's going on that's spearheaded by the Council of Governments. This is the Shaw Activity Center that goes from Barstow to Santa Ana. There is a gap between Santa Ana and Dakota, and of course Highway 180 to Divisadero. And this council did support an application to Caltrans for additional planning grant funding so that we can have a complete street strategy from Barstow all the way down to Divisadero.
Okay. Do we have any estimates yet on the actual cost if we were to execute the plan?
The entire corridor improvements, and I'm just looking at our consultant team, is about $53 million. It's what's in the back of the strategy if we were to implement the recommendations within the strategy.
All right. And just for the record, we're spending about $130 million on Veterans Boulevard. So this city has demonstrated a history of making huge investments of our funds, state, federal, and Measure C funds for projects that are deemed necessary and important to us. In terms of the budget, City Manager, I recognize that we're going to get into the design phase and the planning phase this upcoming year, but as you know, infrastructure projects require multiple years of funding before we have enough to fill one pothole. Is it the mayor's intention that some money be set aside in the proposed budget that's forthcoming for any of this work?
At this time, I have not been directly told of any funding that is going to be dedicated to this one particular project. However, we do have projects on Blackstone that are ongoing, but I can get that information and respond to you as soon as possible with that information.
Thank you. And my other question is, any project that's currently being developed for construction in this identified corridor, is it going to in any way honor any of these strategies, or are we going to essentially reconstruct the existing road as it exists?
My understanding is that any project that would be undertaken in that corridor would conform to this plan.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And my only request to the mayor's office and city manager is that we actually prioritize this as part of the upcoming budget proposal by the mayor. I know it's going to be multiple year. $53 million is a huge price tag, but if we don't start putting some money aside now, we'll never get there eventually. And then lastly, Rodney, thank you for the process you led. I've attended a couple of your meetings. I do want to recognize that this project, the West Area Project planning process, has been premier in any planning process that I've seen, not only with the engagement of folks, but with the actual presentations. They're clear, they're concise, they're thoughtful. You guys are extremely well prepared, and I think for us it's going to be unanimous vote of support. So thank you all for your work.
Member Chavez.
I thought the speeches would get shorter as the cameras left, but apparently not on this item. Come back, Channel 30. Just want to thank you guys for the work you've done. Keith, can you come up real quick? Just got a couple questions. And for everybody that doesn't know, I've been here almost 10 years. Every single idea, big picture idea that the city of Fresno has done has somehow made it from your brain out there in the city.
You're very kind.
From Sega to the general plan to Recharge Fresno to the Better Blackstone.
What about the Downtown River?
No, not that one.
That wasn't his? No.
And in your lines, I have the floor. But I do want to thank you for the work. Great presentation that you guys did. And I remember, and the reason I thought about that is I remember about 5 years ago when I represented that neighborhood, Susan B. Anthony, and we had those meetings there. And this was like the spark, the beginning of this work. And when I had the presentation and I had to see it with what, Rodney and Yahaira have been doing on Blackstone along with the residents, that was really awesome to see the fruition of all that hard work. But it did start with those community meetings at Susan B. Anthony, and you made it fun, engaging, and I think that's why you ended up with what you ended up with here in this project. And I just wanted to thank you for the work that you've been doing in our community. I've heard a couple of lines, and I just wanted to ask you one quick question. So this is called the Blackstone Mobility?
Southern Blackstone Smart Mobility Strategy.
Okay.
It's not a project yet under CEQA, it's just a strategy.
Got it. So then how does this fit into the Better Blackstone project overall?
We're really focusing on Barstow South to Divisadero, and in this particular grant, we had to focus a little tighter than the whole quarter segment between Barstow and Divisadero. So we chose, and Caltrans accepted, looking at Dakota down to 180. We felt like there were 3 activity centers to study in that section, one centered by Manchester at Shields, one by Fresno City College at Weldon, and then Olive as the gateway to the Tower District. We have, as Rodney indicated, been working with the COG, and we're doing outreach for this project too at Blackstone and Shaw, that activity center. So we see 4 primary activity centers on Blackstone between Barstow and Divisadero. One at Shaw, one at Shields, one at Weldon, and one at Olive. And frankly, this project, through the work of CDNA and just this realization with the community, I think we have one big activity center, which is really anchored by Fresno City College on the south and Manchester Center on the north. And that segment, to me, is really the sweet spot for getting a lot of stuff done for Blackstone to reflect a lot of new efforts.
Absolutely. No, and that makes sense now. So it's a couple of phases, so to speak.
Multiple phases.
All that.
And I think, I would add, if I could, Councilman, these segments are different. Blackstone and Shaw is very different than Shields and Blackstone, very different than, McKinley and Weldon. They're just very different in many, many ways.
Absolutely. And I got one small confession. Remember years ago when we had that conversation about that community market that you guys went down there and looked at in Southern California? I think it's called La Paloma.
Oh, yeah.
So we actually stole that idea. It's going to get built in Southeast on that corner of 8th and Ventura. But even your work is translating over to the other side. So maybe that's just my open invitation. Come over to Kings Canyon Avenue as well.
We're with you, and we can, as a community, support many of those kinds of markets.
Thank you. So just to kind of sum it up, I heard a couple of lines. Great cities do this. I'm all in. Where's the money? I'm gonna throw mine in and say great job. Great job to everybody. I truly do mean that.
I appreciate it. I just want to say that 2 things, if I may, Councilman. We have a great staff, Ivan Paz, Kelsey McVeigh, some other people who've been working along Blackstone now for 4 or 5 years. And I just want to shout out, DARM has been a super partner. So has Public Works. So has FACTS. We have great departments in the city of Fresno, and they're very interested in working and engaging our community. And we are grateful for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you for those compliments to those departments. A pat on the back is always welcomed. Next, Nelson, before you go, before you go the second time, I'll take my first time opportunity. And again, thanks to everyone that's here and everyone that came in and spoke very articulately and to the point. And we appreciate all the diverse opinions that you have. Your community engagement was fantastic. The presentation was great. I love the strategy of making a test run, in essence, to see how things work out. And from that, we'll be able to do further adjustments, further refinement. As they say, we'll get the biggest bang for the buck. So fantastic. I love that. And I did have a question from Ashland North. That's sort of my district. And so I think we're going to work on that as soon as we have time. But I know that's on your radar, so I sincerely appreciate that. So congratulations on a job well done. Next is Member Esparza.
Thank you, Council President. I'll keep this one brief. Just listening to folks, listening to my colleagues. Luis, if you're doing confessions, I think your list of sins is longer than that. And Councilmember Arias, I appreciate your comments about the the potential environmental impacts of such a project. I think we need to look at the bigger picture. If you want to come down to City College on Wednesday mornings, I'll teach you about trade-offs and how there may be a tad bit of increased pollution as you're suggesting.
I'll meet you there, but let's get there on our bikes.
But the big picture, I mean, we're increasing the ability to use for transit, pedestrians, and bicyclists, which ultimately I think is going to end up way more of a net gain for the environment. So again, I'm all in, and hopefully I can get a second. Oh, Esmeralda's a second. Perfect.
So the screen is clear. We have a motion and a second. We'll do electronic voting. Yes is support. Forget the no. There you go. Congratulations. Your efforts have paid off. Now, I don't know if you guys want to go down and do the photo op, or shall we keep going?
I did want to get the picture with the signs there.
You want the signs?
Well, I want the signs and a picture of the signs, but
all right.
The signs can actually wait.
I guess we should all go down. We'll take a 5-minute break, do the photo ops, we'll come right back. Thank you all. Good to see you. Thanks for the job you guys did. All right, we're going to start. We're going to move on to the next item of business. And I believe it is hearing to adopt resolutions and ordinance to annex territory and levy a special tax. This is in District 2. So if we have, here comes
Make a
Mr.
motion to
Benelli.
approve.
Second.
All right.
Unfortunately, these are very routine, so we got it.
Yes, thank you, sir.
This is a Community Facilities District public hearing. This is District 9. This is it is in Council District 2. This is an annexation of a single commercial project. I believe it's a daycare center. The annual assessment is $158 per year. We have received the ballots. The owners are in support, and we are recommending approval today.
Thank you very much. Anyone in the public wish to come forward? This is your time to address the council. We'll bring it back up here. Public comment is closed. We have a motion by Member Arias. Member Esparza seconded that motion. There are no requests to speak. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, we have 4-0. Where did Member Chavez go? Is this a controversial vote? I can't remember.
The king of exemptions is out of the
Anyway, it passes 4-0 with Member Bredefield and Member Chavez absent, and as we know, the other district is vacant. So next we'll go to another District 2 item, continued hearing to accept or strike that, adopt resolutions and ordinance to annex territory and a levy. And it looks very familiar.
Those were recently scheduled for an earlier time and moved to the afternoon, so you'll see it twice on the agenda. I think the
Very
next
good.
item is going to be 3A.
Very good, thank you. The next item is a continued hearing to consider conditional use, that's off too, sorry. Back to general admin, 3A, a resolution adopting, that's page 7, resolution adopting a City of Fresno's 2019 to 2020 annual action plan. This is Darn. Good afternoon, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, Council. I am Karen Jenks, the Administrative Manager of the Housing and Community Development Division, and I will be presenting the fiscal year, or the 2019-2020 Annual Action Plan. This year, the city was allocated approximately $11.1 million in entitlement funding, which is about the same as we had last year. In order to receive these funds, the city must carry out a planning process to identify its housing and community development needs and how the available funds will best be used to meet those needs. This planning process, which is called the Consolidated Plan, was conducted in late 2014, early 2015, and the term of that plan began on July 1st, 2015, and will end on June 30th, 2020. Each year, the city prepares an annual action plan that describes the projects it will undertake to carry out the strategies that are outlined in the Consolidated Plan. The document before you for approval today is the 5th and final year annual action plan covering the period from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020. And before I get to the PowerPoint presentation, I would like to read into the record the public comment that we did receive. You may recall that at the final public hearing last week, we received one public comment from Jay Justice in which he requested basic
Could you
language.
pull the mic down just?
Sure.
There you go, let's try it.
In which he requested
Perfect.
basic language on government funding breakdown. So the city's 5-year consolidated plan identified 4 priorities: increased development, preservation, and rehabilitation of affordable housing for low-income and special needs households, provide assistance for the homeless and those at risk of becoming homeless through Housing First collaborations, provide assistance to low-income and special needs households, and provide public facilities improvements to strengthen neighborhood revitalization. Here we have our fiscal year 2020 annual action plan budget, which is broken down by program. So for the Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, we received an allocation of approximately $6.9 million. With the program income, it puts us a little bit above $7 million. We have the Home Investment Partnerships Program, and we got an allocation of a little bit over $3 million. With the program income, we're at $3.2 million. Our Emergency Solutions Grant, or ESG, received an allocation of about $585,000. And the Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS or HIV, or HOPWA, received an allocation of about $564,000. So all of the allocations and program in total, about $11.4 million. The CDBG program uses will include housing activities and home repair, public services, which does have a cap of 15%, community and public facilities, Section 108 loan repayment, and planning administration, which also has a cap of 20%, and then micro enterprises / Section 3 training. The CDBG housing activities will include the Senior Paint Program, which is a city-performed activity. The next activity is rehabilitation, and that $1 million that is being recommended to be split between 2 subrecipients, the Habitat for Humanity and Self-Help Enterprises. And then last, we have the Housing Program Delivery, which is administration of city-performed programs. For CDBG Public Services, the first 2 activities, after-school programs and senior hot meals, are both run by the Parks Department. Then next, we have the subrecipient or nonprofit services, And these are the nonprofits that applied for funding and were evaluated for eligibility and scored by staff and are recommended by the Housing and Community Development Commission, or HCDC, after the citizen participation. So HCDC has recommended Boys and Girls Club, Fresno EOC, Turning Point, and WestCare at the amounts that are listed. For CDBG public facilities and improvements, the first activity is the neighborhood street improvements. And you can see the 4 projects with the recommended funding levels. I would like to point out that the last project title did need to be corrected, and the correct title is Webster Neighborhood Canal Barricade. Then we have our community facility improvements. Again, this is for nonprofits who applied for funding, and these were recommended by HCDC. The CDBG subcommittee will have a report after this presentation that will list their recommendations for the community facility improvements. Then we have park facility improvements, and lastly, street, sidewalk, and park improvements contingency. CDBG funds will also be used to pay the Section 108 loan debt service for $134,541. The CDBG planning and administration includes activities such as grant monitoring and administration, which is really important to make sure that we stay in line with the federal requirements, historic preservation, and environmental assessments. It also pays a portion of administration to some subrecipients, such as the Fair Housing Council. And CDBG planning and admin is also vital to assist with the administration of other activities, since those other programs' caps for administration is much lower. Next, we have the CDBG Section 3 training, and these funds will be used to expand Section 3 job readiness and workforce development training services program, and it is recommended to be funded at $35,000. The home program uses will include administration, the CHOTO set-aside, which must be at least 15%, housing development, and TBRA, which is tenant-based rental assistance. The home program-specific activities will include rental housing development, TBRA, which is up to 18 months of rent or supportive services to get individuals out of homelessness, the CHOTO set-aside, and administration, which for this one is capped at 10%. The ESG program uses will include emergency shelter and outreach, rehousing, homeless prevention, HMIS administration, which is done through the Fresno Housing Authority, and administration. Again, there's a cap, this one for 7.5%. And these areas are actually identified specifically in legislation, and federal law requires that we work with the continuum of care, and they provide guidance to the city on the use of ESG funding. The ESG program-specific activities are listed here. Again, these are recommendations from HCDC from nonprofits who applied for funding. And so you can see by activity the nonprofit service provider with each recommended funding level. And again, the subcommittee's recommendation may change some of these line items. Lastly, we have the HOPWA program, and its uses include TBRA, STRMU, short-term rent, mortgage, and utility assistance, supportive services, housing information services, emergency shelter housing operations, and administration with another cap. And these are also done in collaboration with the continuum of care. HOPWA-specific activities, we only had one applicant, and that was WestCare, and it is recommended that their activities be funded as shown. And the city will also have a small portion, 3%, for city administration. So at this time, I would actually like to turn it over to the CDBG subcommittee to present their recommended changes to the annual action plan, but staff will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, very concise. Member Chavez had a brief comment. He asked
Thank you,
speak
President
first.
Cabrillo. Just for the record, I have to recuse myself from the EOC portion of this initiative.
Very good, thank you. First up on our request to speak, you want to go to the public first, or?
We can go to the public first.
All right, let's do the public first. Anyone from the community wish to speak about this, please come up to the microphone. You'll have plenty of time to discuss this. Seeing none, we'll close public portion. Member Arias.
Thank you, Council President. Just as a reminder to the Council, probably a few weeks ago, if not more than a month ago, the Council appointed a subcommittee for the CDBG allocation to provide some additional feedback on recommended funding sources. In your agenda packets, you should have what we're calling the CDBG Subcommittee Recommendation Supplemental Item. That's the item as with the adjustments that the subcommittee recommends. In short, the adjustments allow us to focus our public facilities funds from funding facility improvements of nonprofit organizations to prioritizing city-owned facilities in our park areas and our community centers, which have been neglected for a few years. Additionally, we made a recommendation to increase the allocation recommended for the rehab of the shelter for our homeless youth in EOC to ensure that they're able to accommodate the additional bed spaces that we anticipate they will have to house given the upcoming heat funds that we'll be having to allocate that increase the additional funds for sheltering our homeless youth. With that, those are the additional recommendations. And with that, Council President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the CDBG allocations with the subcommittee's recommendations, as well as give staff direction that in the 2021 CDBG budget allocation, that we include the additional $500,000 for the multi-generation center, as well as direct our staff to fund immediately the repairs of the roof at the community center that houses the Boys and Girls programs. It is a city park facility and a city-owned community center that requires roof repairs.
Is that Fink White?
Fink White, to be specific. Thank you.
I'll second that motion. City Attorney, is there a way to bring Member Chavez back to vote on some of these items as opposed to the EOC?
Yes, as long as he specifies he's not voting on the EOC. You could carve the EOC out separately. You might want to consider that first before he comes back in, and then take up everything else.
Okay.
I will amend my motion to approve everything excluding the EOC items so we can vote on it now.
I'll second that.
The opposite, sorry.
Yeah.
To the EOC now.
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the EOC recommendation.
First, second by Member Soria. We've taken it to the public, so is there any opposition?
Call for the question.
Is there any opposition? Okay. Pardon me, we have a request to speak. Member Soria, and then... okay. Did you all want to, city manager, assistant city manager, did you guys want to talk about the EOC thing or the rest of it? Okay, so we're, screen is clear. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, it passes 4-0. And we'll ask Member Chavez to come back in. I could ring my bell, but no one seems to. Yeah, I had that installed. That was an effort on my part to advise people that were ready to go.
Okay. Council President, while we're waiting for Councilmember Chavez, and as far as I'd like to just to bring back my motion to approve the CDBG recommendations with the CDBG subcommittee's recommended adjustments and the direction to allocate $500,000 to the multi-generational center in the 2021 budget year, as well as to identify the resources to repair the Fink White Community Center roof so that the Boys and Girls Club can continue operation.
Did you, Member Soria, did you want to second and speak?
Yeah, or you can second it.
Fine, I'll second the motion.
And then I just wanted to make some comments. I want to thank the committee for and the staff for working with the committee to come up with, you know, the recommendations. One thing that I wanted to just note, aside from the funding, obviously I'm supportive of what is before us as changed. But I wanted to talk about the capacity of this division. I am extremely concerned about the fact that I've learned that we have 5 vacancies. So I know that we have a consultant, but I was very clear from the beginning when we approved the consulting for CDBG and so forth that I didn't want to continue to approve contracts for consultant. I know the consulting contract is up on June 30th. Can you speak to the vacancies and the capacities? What's our plan to make sure, because this is funding rolling in for this next fiscal year?
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilmember Soria, for the opportunity to speak about the capacity. So over the past few years, we have been working very carefully with our regional HUD office as well as our consultants to build capacity within the division. Currently, we have 3 vacancies. We have added someone from the internal auditor's office to our staff as our administrative manager to ensure that we are staying within the lines, for lack of a better term, to start making sure that we are doing our monitoring, that we are self-monitoring, that we are building that capacity. So we continue to have internal training. We send folks externally to training. Actually, our management analyst went to training and scored the highest of all of the people at the training, so we're really proud of her for going off and doing that. So we are continuously building capacity and adding employees and
I actually like to, I don't know if I, I don't want to say that you're lying to me, but I've heard there's 5 vacancies, and I know that we have 2 consultants that are in that office. I want to know the truth. I want to know how many vacancies, like actual authorized positions, haven't been filled. So I don't know if we do this in the next council meeting, we put an item on the agenda. I want to get an update as to how much really training has the new consultant have they done or work on the issues that we hired them for. And I want to know what's the plan to really fill those positions that have been vacant, not for 1 month, not for 2 months, it has been months. And so I'm concerned about this division because one of the items that I want to bring forward is figuring out additional resources to address the affordable housing crisis that we have in front of us. But when I kind of check around and ask folks, and I'm told that there's lack of capacity there, I'm concerned. So I'd like a report to this council. What are you guys doing so that we dwindle down this consultant? I'm not approving, beyond June 30th, I'm not approving another consultant contract for this division. I'm being very serious about this. We need to make sure that we're building our department. This is one of the most critical departments that, these types of funding that we have in front of us are so important to address the poverty issues in our community. And I just don't feel like it's been a priority to build the department. So I'd like, in the next council meeting, to get a full report. I'd like to hear from the consultants. I want to ask the consultants and whoever staff, I want to be able to ask them questions about the work that they've been doing. I hear that our own staff are training the consultants, and I think that that's unacceptable. Our staff shouldn't be training anyone. If we're hiring consultants, they should come with the expertise to do the work. I don't want to be paying $140 an hour for these individuals that may not have the knowledge. So I'm very serious about this. I want to get this fixed. I want us to have a plan to fill those positions. So I'd like, in the next council meeting, I would like to set an item that specifically hones down on the capacity, how we're going to do this, so that in this next budget cycle, we're serious about, not just putting it on paper that we have these positions, but that we are working diligently to make sure that we have the capacity to draw down all the dollars so that we're not in a precarious situation as we've been in the past, or we're in a situation like we were a couple months ago where you said we have to spend $2.5 million because otherwise it's going to go away. I don't want to be in that situation 6 months or a year from now. So I'm very serious about this. This is an important issue for me. I'd like a true report and about the real filled positions that are authorized positions, not the consultant, but the authorized positions and a plan. And if you guys are expected to bring an extension of that consultant contract, I'm already putting it on the record. I'm not supporting it. I think that it's been enough of consulting for this, that we need to get serious about attracting qualified folks. I think there's something going on when we have left these positions vacant for a long time. So I just wanted to make sure that I put those comments for the record. Thank you.
So Member Soria, what you are suggesting is that there's been rumors and innuendos and so forth that you've been aware of, and you'd like to just have a full report on the items you just stated on filling vacancies and the status of consultants. And from that, you can reach an opinion or conclusion based on facts, not fiction or rumors or otherwise. Okay, good.
Council, we are in complete agreement that capacity is critical to ensure that we not only comply with the federal regulations, but we have the greatest benefit within our community. Absolutely and completely agree with that. We're happy to provide a report to the council.
Thank you very much. Any other, we have, are we finished over here?
I just want to say thank you to staff for working with the subcommittee. I know it took a few meetings over lunch and during the workday. So thank you for your patience and your willingness to work with us.
Next up on my screen is Assistant City Manager Sumter or Shad.
Just wanted to make a couple of comments on the Multi-Gen Center in specific. Staff is going to work diligently to figure out how to accelerate the schedule and spend that money, but we've already shrunk that schedule quite a bit to try and get it done. And if those design activities get delayed, adding the $500,000 in CDBG funding to the $200,000, it just creates a little more risk in that we won't have that done in time. That can affect our timeliness number overall. The other thing is, as not necessarily related to CDBG, as we try and accelerate that schedule, we become more and more subject to missing that schedule. So I want everybody to realize that in doing that type of activity, we generate more risk in the project, both schedule and cost risk. If we ask consultants to get things done faster, they usually charge us for that. And then the last thing is just, we had 200 of CDBG funding invested, 200,000 invested. Now we have 700,000, 12 or 1.2 million if we include the next year. We need to be very careful that we only use that CDBG money for eligible activities, and we're going to have to probably vet through that to make sure that that occurs.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Of course, this is my passion for the next 1 year, 7 months, and 28 days.
Nobody's counting.
So I know we can work this as a team. I know with the team that just spoke and addressed us, as well as you, Jim, and your expertise, that we could move it along as fast as possible. And outsourcing may be an option. I don't know, but we'll have to figure that out as soon as possible. And this is the number one priority on my list. Whatever I can do to expedite.
We should have a little more information soon. We're evaluating the proposals for design, so that should give us some hints on how well we can do.
Beautiful. I look forward to continuing to work with you. Thanks for all the things you've done so far and your team. Screen is clear. We have a motion and a second. By the way, for the record, the EOC portion was carved out when Member Chavez was out of the chamber. The vote was taken. We resolved that issue. Now we're back on the balance of the item, and Member Chavez has rejoined us. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? Seeing none, passes 5-0. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, staff. Appreciate the patience.
Certainly do. Thank you. Next is 3B, Resolution, 39th Amendment to the Annual Appropriations Resolution, commonly called UGM funds, which is Public Works.
Good afternoon. Andrew Bonelli again with Public Works Department. This is an annual appropriation resolution allocating $2,010,000 in developer impact fees into the budget so that developers who've made improvements to public infrastructure can be reimbursed. We're recommending for approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about the funds or the projects.
I do have questions, Council President.
Members, Arias, you want to take it to the public first, or you want to do the questions? Okay, quickly, we'll go out to the public. Anyone in the public wish to discuss this or express an opinion, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of our hearing and return to the dais. Member Arias.
Thank you. You know, I was looking at this agenda item, and I recognize this reimbursements for development that they have done in lieu of, you know, the fees and things of that nature, but it doesn't identify who we're paying and for what purpose anywhere in the actual agenda or the backup material.
I can tell you this is for the construction of a water well in the east part of town near Shields and Locan. The reimbursement is to Bonadelli Homes for work that they did. And the work is completed and the well is in service.
So is it the full $2 million to Bonadelli Homes?
It is.
Okay. In the future, can you guys find a way to identify who we're reimbursing and for what purpose in the actual agenda item?
Typically when we bring this, there's 4 or 5 developers. In this case, there's just one.
Perfect. That would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve by Member Arias, seconded by Member Soria. The screen is clear. Is there any opposition to this motion? Seeing none, it passes 5-0. Thank you all very much. Next is our Council 4A item. We're almost finished. On that, if there's any member of any committee that wishes to do any updates or otherwise, this is the opportunity. Member Soria. Let me just say this. I do note three vacancies. We can address that, but I thought we'd do our committee comments first. Member Soria.
Oh, I was going to do the vacancies, so I'll reserve my comment.
No.
Thank you, Council President. I'll reserve until.
Okay. Member Esparza, I thank you.
Yeah, so this is strictly just kind of updates on the committees.
If you wish to make a comment and you're a member of some committee or otherwise, now's the time to comment. Otherwise, we'll go back to the vacancies and see if we can fill those.
Just wanted to let folks know that we did hold our first public meeting of the school liaison subcommittee. Myself, Councilmember Arias, and members of school districts, Central, Clovis. Clovis was invited but did not attend. State Center, Sanger, and of course Fresno Unified. So that was a historic moment. I mean, that was the first time that that committee had met. Those are publicly noticed meetings. We did have the meeting here at City Hall. A very productive dialogue between City of Fresno and the school districts. We went a little over 2 hours in our discussion. No action items. There's no action taken by the committee, but we did come up with some different action items that our respective bodies would potentially undertake.
Thank you. With your leadership, I'm sure that'll be refined to some item before us. That was paragraph 21 on our list. Anyone else wish to update committee? Member Arias?
I just want to make a comment on the item number 20. The San Joaquin River Conservancy Board. I understand that the mayor gets to, the appointment for the city of Fresno is the mayor himself, and that he gets to designate an alternate, and the council doesn't have the authority to approve or not approve his alternate. My only request to the mayor of Fresno is that he actually show up to the meetings himself. In this case, the San Joaquin Conservancy Board is in active litigation over the access points to the river bottom. And frankly speaking, I don't think it's time for replacement players in this conversation. It's time for the mayor to attend those meetings himself and try to help with some kind of compromise over the litigation. And lastly, I would just ask our legal counsel and staff to update the council in closed session about the pending litigation. Because I don't know if we're included formally or if there's some exposure to the city. But again, I'd just like to encourage the mayor to attend the meetings and try and facilitate a resolution that doesn't require a further litigation.
That is your recommendation, as stated, Mayor Brand is the ex officio and Butterfield is the alternate. So I think it's incumbent upon them to figure out how they can manage the meetings and so forth. But I'm sure the mayor has heard your comments. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go back to item 10 on that 4A, number 10, Finance and Audit Committee. We have a vacancy.
I'll make a nomination.
Well, actually, council, that is for Councilmember Esparza to appoint.
I'm going to go ahead and continue this item to a future meeting, while bringing that back with some reforms to the committee.
Very good. We'll continue that to a later date. Next is number 17, League of Cities Annual Meeting. Member Soria, the vacancy, and I'm an alternate as well.
On which one?
Number 17.
There is a vacant. I think you just become the.
I have been in the past filling that, so I guess we could not address that.
Yeah, I don't think we. Yeah, it's just
Okay.
me and you.
Very good, thank you. Number 18, Litigation Exposure Reduction Ad Hoc Committee. Member Brandow is there, and myself. Is anyone want to volunteer to join that? Member Arias has volunteered. Do we need a motion to appoint someone to that? It's an ad hoc committee, but.
Yes, you would.
Okay. Motion by Member Chavez, second by Member Soria.
Well, actually, you can have up to 3 members also.
Okay, so.
I'll join you.
Everybody wants to be a lawyer. What's going on?
I
Well,
am
we
a
do have 2
lawyer.
attorneys,
I'm
so
a
there
real
you go.
lawyer.
All right, so is the motion to appoint members Arias and Soria to the committee jointly?
Yes,
Member Soria made the motion, or
he made it. I'll second.
Chavez did? Thank you, Member Chavez. And I'll second it. And is there any opposition? We have none. Welcome to the committee. I guess I'm the chair by age. I don't know.
Council President,
Yes.
can I ask to also nominate Councilmember Arias to the Association for the Beautification of Highway 99, since his district also shares that area?
What number is that?
The number 1, sorry.
The number 1. Let's go back.
If anyone else wants to join us. But there is work to do on the 99 to mow the tall grass and the weeds. So
I'd like to invite
Caltrans, please.
Councilmember Chavez to join us.
Yes.
Okay. So the Member Soria, you had a motion to add whom or nominate?
Yes.
Arias and Chavez.
And
Member Arias.
for Chavez.
And so we have a rejection of
For
the
the record,
nomination.
Councilmember Chavez, you drive the 99, I see you.
So we'll add, by motion of Member Soria, I'll second it, to add Member Arias to the Association for the Beautification of Highway 99. Is there any opposition? Seeing none. I assume we don't have to go to the public on these appointments.
Did you already go to the public at the beginning?
I'm not sure. Anyone in the public like to talk about this, please come forward. Yeah, if we want to be a consultant on a committee, please come. No, just kidding. Anyway, we'll close public comment. And is there any opposition to the motions on the floor? No. Seeing none, passes 5-0. Member
Council
Soria?
President.
Council President, I wanted to just ask you, and I'm not sure why your names are not on there, but the Cannabis Ad Hoc Committee has Councilmember Arias and yourself, but it's not reflected. Number 3.
Let's see.
So we
We'll
would just
add-
keep it consistent.
Okay.
Because we've been meeting.
So it would be Soria, Capriolio, and Arias. Is that, do we need a motion on that too, Doug? We've been doing it, but I don't know that we've formally.
If it hasn't been done before, you should, yes.
Okay, motion by Member Chavez, seconded by Member Esparza. Any opposition? Seeing none, I'll take that out. We already did to go to the public, so. All right, so I think we have.
Council President, I want to discuss your number 15.
15 is Fresno Madera Agency on Aging.
Yeah, so I think in one of the very first meetings that we made these appointments, I was recommended by the council to serve on this committee. The mayor heard that and did appoint me to that committee. At the time I was appointed, I was not aware that I had a scheduling conflict with my pre-existing commitment to the students at City College. As you've heard earlier, I spend the Wednesday mornings there teaching economics. And so I have been unable to attend those meetings, unfortunately. And I feel at this point that I'd like to have an open discussion on who might be a good replacement for me as I send in my letter of resignation.
Member Chavez.
Your resignation, okay, we'll accept that. I tend to set my court appearances on Wednesday. It seems to be the best day for me in my private practice, since this allegedly is a part-time job.
I think Member Chavez is a great candidate for this position.
I'll second that motion.
He qualifies by the age threshold. Second it.
Second. Okay. Any opposition? Passes 5-0. The ancient one.
I will send in my letter of resignation here in the coming days, and then the mayor will need to appoint Councilmember Chavez.
And Councilmember Chavez, in full disclosure, since Councilmember Sparza is not disclosing it, the top priority of the agency is to develop and build a senior center in Fresno. So best of luck.
All right. I'm glad we settled that. So now we can go to unscheduled communication. I do have some cards. Apologize for taking so long. We have bicycle lanes, NAVAR. I'm sorry. Looks like Eduardo is the last name. I'm not sure. 323 West East, apartment 140. Are you here? If you're here, please come forward. Next is David Love, the first Hmong saint. Welcome, Mr. Love. Give us your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
David Love, number 4. Address 5705 East Huntington, apartment 205. The first Hmong saint from Caleb Ministry, building 429. I'm going to voice over to Washington, D.C., and also to Sacramento, and also to the United States of America. I'm the 100 in the New Testament of the New Covenant. There's nobody else from the Hmong population. I'll start off with gray area and silver line. Those consist of dark worlds. I found out where Paula James Dark World of Satan, her house, where she was burning, where they're burning holy Bibles and a lot of the dark worlds of Kokong stuff. We're talking about Paula James organization, the poster lady that does Kokong is trying to deny, they did not win City District number 5. Her address, her location, there's about 3 addresses of Satan's houses. Claremont, 424. And there's also a house on Platt, 5891, and also on a jail, 143. They like to cheat and they like to audio stuff. They like to talk in advance. They try to cheat a lot. I can't wait to light the way with 429, God's Angel Army of Saints, the completion at 100. The Golden Altar airplane that fly the highest, side by side. What you guys are hearing is probably audio stuff right now. They might be trying to squeeze in some of the other words. I'm the one that lands Jesus Christ on the heavenly earth. They thought about plotting murder to bring down Jesus Christ on the heavenly earth. That won't happen. My heavenly brother, Lord Jesus Christ, won't let that happen. And God, Father from heaven, will never let that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Jesus heaven will never let that happen.
Appreciate your comments.
2 weeks from now, I'll voice for, I will reveal Alex and Terry, and also Julia and them.
Thank you very much. Next is Joseph Munoz, and then we have Gonzalo Rambula. So Joseph, are you here? Seeing none, or seeing no one. Then Gonzalo is gone. Okay, that concludes the cards I have. Is there anyone else in City Hall right now, right here, that would like to come forward and address the council for 3 minutes? Please step forward. Give us your name and address. Okay, seeing none, we have concluded our business on this meeting, and we are officially adjourned. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for your cooperation to expedite the meeting.